Is Dan here, and I've got my friend Justin back with us. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Dan.
We've done 50 already of your favorites, 100 through 51. We're doing the top movies for you. Personal favorites of Justin of all time. We've had some interesting entries so far.
A lot of variety.
Tons of variety. We went from like silent era, Charlie Chaplin, up through a couple of Marvel movies recently. We've done horror, we've done Western, we've done romance, we've done legal drama, we've done a lot of sci-fi,
some Danish picks.
We've had a couple of Danish movies, which, by the way, I realized I did see that Mads Mikkelsen movie you said. What was it called again? The Hunt?
Yes.
Okay, so there's one more for the list. We have sort of we haven't really been keeping tally, but we have kind of a mental running tally of how many I've seen on your list. Because we knew it would not be nearly the full list. We knew there would be some misses for me. You thought it might be 60 that I have not seen of the 100. I said it was probably somewhere in the 1/3 range. From what we know so far, I'd say it's probably somewhere in the middle. It's probably going to be about 40 to 45. Yeah. And some real, obvious ones that I should have seen, like Boogie Nights or something, that I haven't. So, now we are in the top 50.
Yes, we are.
So, I'm excited to continue. So far, we've had... What's your biggest director so far in the bottom 50? We've had 2 from... what's his face? Kubrick, haven't we? Or did we repeat any yet?
You know what's interesting? I think we've had 2 Kubrick and 2 Mel Gibson.
Oh, that's true, because we had Apocalypto and Braveheart.
Yeah, oddly.
So we know now your top director, Mel Gibson. But we've had 1 James Cameron. I think we'll be hearing from him more. I know we'll be... Spoiler, we already talked a little bit about Lord of the Rings, so I know we've got 2 more Peter Jacksons on the way. Okay, well, I'm intrigued. Let's get into the list. Let's talk about number 50.
All right, number 50, Forrest Gump, your favorite.
Oh, what a way to start the top 50. Now look, this is on personal favorite lists. We don't trash other people's personal favorites. I will just say, I think everyone knows I think Forrest Gump is overrated. I just want to explain that there are other movies that could have won Best Picture, Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction among them. But you've had actually a ton of Best Picture winners on your list so far.
Yeah, I guess so.
Many. So let's hear why you love Justin. I love Justin.
Cool.
Let's hear why you love Forrest Gump.
Okay,
because many people do.
Yeah. Forrest Gump is like kind of just... It's not really a classic Jobe household movie, but it's also not one that I've just kind of encountered recently. It's kind of like in the middle. Like, I just kind of watched it sort of when I was young, kind of, every decade or so, one might say it. But I watched it again recently, and it really... It's sort of one of those movies that I think most people would consider really great. And taking that for granted in a sense. And it's kind of like, yeah, okay, it's great. But it's better than that. I really think. I think if you think about what the movie is trying to do in putting you in the shoes of this mentally retarded character... I think this movie also proves Tom Hanks's acting range of being able to, be a captain in Saving Private Ryan, be Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
He can play Castaway. He can play a lot of different characters, so I'm actually not the biggest Tom Hanks fan.
But this was before all of those, by the way. This was among the first,
I guess it's not proving, but retroactively looking back.
Won 2 Oscars back to back, because the year before this was Philadelphia, and then this. I think he should have won the next year for Apollo 13 as well, but...
I actually dislike that movie.
Oh, really? Oh, see, we're flip-flopped on the Hanks.
Don't like that one.
So you were just about to say you don't really care for Tom Hanks that much. Like, he's not among your...
Yeah, he's not. He's not. I wouldn't say he's in my top 30 favorite actors.
Really? He's one of my favorites.
He's really good. He's just not my personal preference.
Okay.
But I think he nails Forrest Gump really well.
This is his third movie on your list too, because we had Toy Story 2 and Saving Private Ryan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just the kind of odyssey of his life is really remarkable. All of the adventures he goes through shows that even if you're someone that is mentally retarded, you can have a fantastic life.
Yeah. Is of limited means.
Yes. I will say one criticism that I do have of the movie is he does get extraordinarily lucky. And he is extraordinary physically.
Yeah.
He can run faster than everybody else.
Ping pong.
He can run basically infinitely. He's really good at ping pong. So, like, yeah, he is fortunate. Very fortunate, as well as unfortunate.
In some ways.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of hard to your criticisms of the film, I think, are fair. But it hits really emotionally hard at the end. And it's one of those movies that when you watch it, it feels like every scene is kind of like a classic. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, this scene. Oh, yeah, this part. And then there's this part. And that's usually a really good sign of a great film, I feel. Okay.
And that's fair. And obviously a lot of quotable lines. Mama said what life was like a box of chocolates. Mm-hmm. You know, talks about his buttocks. I mean, there's some classics. I will say, in the positive column, we talked about this when you said about Dazed and Confused. I think in terms of, like, retro soundtracks, this obviously takes place mostly in the 60s. Like, the Forrest Gump soundtrack really is a greatest hits of an entire decade of music. Mm-hmm. So, you've got that.
I also think Sally Fields for his mother is really well cast, even though you don't care for that character.
Well, I don't care for that character necessarily, but Sally Field is actually one of my favorite actresses. I think she's great in everything.
Also, not to be overlooked, Lieutenant Dan is a great character.
Yep, I can't deny that.
Lieutenant Dan's character arc, quite remarkable, I think.
Yeah.
Jenny is a mess, but
she's the worst.
See, here's the thing though, with Jenny is even though you're not intended to like her, but she struggles with abandonment stuff because she was abused by her father as a child, and it's kind of showing that perspective as well in a realistic fashion, even though, realistically, you're not going to really empathize with that character that much if you haven't been in that position.
Right. But so, she is one of those characters where it's like, okay, does it ring true to life? Yeah, probably for some people.
It is hard to watch somebody being repeatedly self-destructive.
Yeah.
All
right.
But yeah.
Listen.
Really good, well-paced movie, too. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, but I actually think it's not really a plot-driven movie is the thing. Like, yes,
no, it's more vignettes. I would.
Yeah, yes, you could argue that you could shave an hour off the movie potentially, and the plot would still function fine. But I think I wouldn't want anything really erased from it.
Okay,
I think everything that's shown is entertaining or is developing him or the other characters. So I think it's pretty solid. In that regard.
I'm intrigued to see, because I know you love Shawshank too. I'm intrigued to see if Shawshank shows up higher up on your list.
All right. Number 49, American Beauty.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Have you seen it?
I have.
Awesome.
Yep. Did this one win Best Picture too? I think it might have.
Yep.
Man alive.
Also, I think 4 of the big 5 winners.
Oscars. I don't think it had any acting, because Kevin Spacey didn't win, did he? I think Kevin Spacey's Oscar is for Usual Suspects. Maybe he won too. Maybe. Look, I'm going to look it up.
Anyway.
Tell me.
So this movie is actually the most inspirational film for me.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's not...
Explain that.
It's because of what Kevin Spacey does in his life. How he changes his life. He has... He's attained the sort of American dream, white picket fence, office job, makes a decent amount of money, has a good-looking wife, has, a family, whatever. And it's just such a hollow existence in that. Yeah. And I've always kind of pushed back on that lifestyle being, this is the end-all, be-all, this is the way to be the happiest, and all this and that. And I think it's kind of destructive societally, sort of. But beyond that, it shows you, he quits his job, goes back to the fast food place where he worked when he was younger, in the summer where he was happy. He just does all the things that, like, he wants to do that he was kind of afraid to go for. And other movies do this too. But this one, I think it does it the best. Because he basically takes on this philosophy of, like, he always just tells the blatant, straight truth. Love that. He just says what he really thinks, does what he really wants. He like starts working out. And yes, it's like, you know, he's going after his daughter's friend, which is like messed up.
Right.
But also, you got to take it from his, and you know, Kevin Spacey's at that aspect hasn't aged the best.
Sure.
But I'm one that, like, even if someone's awful in real life, I'm not gonna like their art less.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about separating the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not the easiest, but
Even
I'm pretty good at it. And
even
Kevin
if-
Spacey was one of my favorite actors
yeah,
before everything.
he's great at what he does.
Yeah.
The types of characters he plays, like in Baby Driver and 21, like that's just
Yeah,
his
I love Baby
thing.
Driver. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. The reason why this isn't higher on my list is the other sort of half of the movie is revolving around his daughter and the neighbor
Mhm.
with his camera and his father, which I don't really care that much for. Like I think it's well cast, well acted. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's high quality, but I'm just not that
Pales
interested.
into comparison, I feel like. to
Yeah,
the
if the
rest.
whole movie is about the Kevin Spacey portion, I
Mhm.
feel like then it would be really high, because when I watch this movie, I am motivated to go make my life better.
Hmm.
I'm telling you,
Okay.
anytime I watch this movie, I'm at the gym. I am like,
You're going hard.
yeah, I'm like figuring out how to ways to proactively grow and benefit my life, just like Kevin Spacey did in the movie.
Wow.
And is he a morally good character? Not really.
Yeah.
But the point is taking what you can from the thing,
Mhm.
which I think is important. You know, just because, you know, some guy wrote a thing back in the day and then he's a bad guy doesn't mean what he didn't write wasn't valuable.
Right.
For
Right.
example, like, yeah. And I just derive a lot from that portion of the film.
Okay.
And also just the theme of beauty, really savoring the little things.
That's, I think, one of my favorite parts about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I love just that, just the intro and sort of the visual aspect of that. And you are correct. So he's had 2 Oscar wins, because I knew he won for Usual Suspect.
Mhm.
He won for this Best Picture, Best Director. Annette Bening did not win. She was nominated, and then Screenplay. So 4 of the top 5.
Yeah, I think it's a great
Very
movie.
few
The
movies.
narration, the ending is really great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What can be said?
All right.
Number 48, The Thing.
Oh, the original. Well,
The
actually,
19
not the original.
Right,
The 80s, 82
Kurt
version.
Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah. This
Which I
movie's-
just rewatched again recently with Joe for the anniversary.
Yeah, this movie's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, you know, I have this a little bit higher than Jaws and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because I do. It is somewhat undeniable to me that it is better, and I will say I'm biased towards fantastical things.
Okay.
When something's fantastical, that elevates it in terms of my enjoyment.
Okay.
So because it makes it feel like a lot of things that are kind of just regular people doing regular people things is like small potatoes almost. Like it's not as interesting, or stuff that I haven't seen basically more. So like, for example, like Forrest Gump would potentially be higher, but it's not like, okay, it's just people. So
Well,
it does depend though.
I think you could agree though that many aspects of that story are fantastical, because, like you said, this guy got very lucky and did everything.
Yes, he
and
does extraordinary things.
So you could say maybe fantastical, but yeah, I think you mean more in a
sci-fi fantasy,
sort of way. Yeah.
or horror, something.
Mhm.
But yeah, The Thing is just obviously great.
The effects,
The
practical
effects are great.
amazing still.
It's scary, but not that scary. I feel like
Mhm.
even if you're not into horror, this is a solid film. Like, my mom watched it. She doesn't like horror at all. She still enjoyed it for what it was. The main theme, sort of the like dun dun.
Yeah, the music.
Dun, dun.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a heartbeat. Dun, dun. It's so good.
it is.
The whole thing with the dog at the beginning and like not knowing and all that's great. Also, one of the better endings to a movie. There's a lot of
Good ending.
Are you familiar with like all the theories regarding the ending?
Well, I mean, Joe and I talked about. I mean, we did a really long form video when we did the anniversary.
Okay.
So yeah,
you're loosely familiar.
yeah, I kind of know about
Yeah.
that stuff.
So
yeah.
that's really cool. A lot of
Yeah, I think that's
interesting
intriguing.
theories, and it's a good one to rewatch for that reason.
Mhm.
At least, like you kind of view it a little bit differently, have some different perspectives sometimes.
Yeah. And you're with me in that the 20 whatever it was 2011 or something
Mhm.
is like not bad. Like Joe hates it.
Yeah,
I think
not
it's
bad.
I think it's okay.
I think
it's different
I think
because it's a prequel, but like
I think it's just cool to hate it.
yeah.
But it's like a 6 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I think I gave it a B- or something.
Yeah.
Like it's all
if
right.
people say it's like a 3 out of 10, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Now you're just trolling at this
Relax.
point. Yeah.
I didn't hate it. Number 47. Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh, this was high on many lists when we did the 50 on Joe's channel.
I think about this movie daily.
Is that right?
Daily.
Ooh.
Every day.
Yikes.
Even my letterbox profile picture is Silence of the Lambs, just to make sure that I do. I think about
Fair.
Hannibal Lecter often. I do think the
Okay.
Hannibal show is
We got
a mess.
Joe and I got about a season and a half through that, and then our schedules
I am
weren't
shocked you were
falling.
able to watch that. That's the most like graphically.
I know. We talked about it all the time too when we were reviewing it. Like the fact that that was on a network on television is like not on streaming, not on HBO, like is insane to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Silence of the Lambs. I actually think this movie's overrated.
Overrated.
I think this movie's overrated.
But it's still in your top 50.
Yes.
All right.
Because
I mean, everyone does love it. Like, you'll never
Yeah.
hear anybody really say anything bad. It won the top 5
Yes.
at the Oscars.
Hannibal Lecter also in that short list of greatest performances ever.
Yeah.
You know, he's on the film. He's in the movie for
Is it,
whatever, like
is it like
17
yeah, I was
minutes or
going to say
whatever.
17 or 18.
Something
I
like
think.
that.
It's short.
I do
Yeah.
think the FBI portions with
Jodie Foster?
with Jodie Foster, Clarice, that part's like kind of whatever. It's kind of like showing sexism within.
I kind of
the
like
police.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel like
You think it's too basic?
I feel like that just belongs in a different movie. Like
Okay.
that's a totally good theme and all
Okay.
that. But like you should just lean into the serial killer stuff.
I see.
I think if you spent more time on that, then it would have been better. That's my main criticism with it. Is those portions aren't interesting at all to rewatch. It's just like, yeah, okay.
Oh, see, I don't agree with that. I kind of
The
like
people
her
are
stuff.
sexist. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
it maybe isn't
I don't
too
need.
deep
I don't,
or
I don't
something,
need to see
but
it ever again.
no,
I
maybe
wanna
not.
see
But
the-
I'll tell you what. I think the balance of the movie is what really helped sell it to like people like the Academy and that don't ever really go for like horrors, thrillers, like. But you add her in, and first of all, she was already an Oscar winner by that point. And it's like, oh, okay, now we have like more, it's not all this killer stuff. Now we have somebody to, so I can see both angles, and I see what you're saying.
But yeah, the dynamic between Clarice and Hannibal Lecter and their conversation
So great.
is so great.
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter. It's so interesting how as a viewer you're fully aware that he's morally depraved, but
Right.
he also is likable because he's so sophisticated and charismatic and intelligent that you can't help but like him.
Yeah.
And that's pretty remarkable. That's a rare thing to have someone that, I mean, yes, there's people that are morally bad, like that people like Darth Vader or whatever, but Hannibal Lecter, it's different. It's like Darth Vader's evil, but Hannibal Lecter is like evil.
Yeah.
Okay? We're talking like we see him eat people's faces.
Yeah, we know, like, for sure he's evil.
Yeah, and like he's just so awesome to see.
Yeah.
Gets in your head, and it's believable, like with Anthony Hopkins' performances, that he could like manipulate people to do what he and, he's just so smart and awesome.
Second Hopkins movie.
Yeah, and not the highest Jodie Foster movie on this list.
Really?
Little tidbit there.
Ooh, okay, I have a guess on that.
Number 46. This used to be a lot higher, but we got Aliens.
Ooh, okay.
James Cameron's Aliens.
James Cameron, I knew we would see him again. Yeah, okay.
The reason why this is not higher, well, I guess I'll talk about the positives, but I mean, there's just a million positives.
Most of these lists are like people gushing about their movies. Your list is very like pragmatic in that you're like, well, there could be a flaw or two here,
because I don't give.
But this is a personal list,
I don't,
so
which will even further exemplify that I'm not being hyperbolic later when I'm saying that this is like there aren't flaws.
Well,
I am really a real stickler. I notice every flaw in everything.
What I was just going to say, and we talked about this in part 1 of the video, is that there are very, very, very few movies you give a the highest grade,
Yeah.
which you do, out of 10. I do it A to F, but 10 out of 10. What is it? 15 movies ever.
Less than
Less than 15 movies
like
ever.
12 or something.
So you give a lot of eights and a halves, sevens, but
Eights are rare.
but
even,
nines and tens are hard to come by.
Yeah, like for me, a 7 is a good movie.
Yeah. I feel like for you, a 7 is like a B plus A minus for me.
Movie.
Yeah.
9 is like one of the all timers, and 10 is like this is just like absurdly good.
Yeah. So I can see
I'm
why.
pretty harsh.
Yeah.
But Aliens,
yeah.
some of the best action ever when it was made.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to even think about what's even comparable. Like Terminator 1, I guess.
I think that's a good comparison.
Probably the most action-packed film prior to this.
Mm-hmm. And they were only, I think, 1 year apart, right? Or
2.
same year?
This is
2
86.
years, okay.
Terminator 1. Yeah, I mean, Predator was a year after this, I suppose,
mm-hmm.
which is arguably more action-packed.
I gotta see that.
I
gotta see it. What can I say?
All right. Yeah, you should probably see it.
All right.
Someday. But yeah, Ellen Ripley's an amazing character.
Yeah. She is one of the
strong
keep talking about strong female.
Love Ellen Ripley.
She is like the pinnacle of that, I think.
And you've seen this one, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've seen all of them, I think, except for the fourth one. Which one was the one with Winona Ryder? Was that 3? I saw the Winona Ryder. Okay, that's 4. So I missed 3, I think. But I've seen Prometheus. I've seen the one they did a couple years ago. I've seen Aliens.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm pretty well versed in this universe.
Yeah, the shot with the Queen when she's like turning around with Newt. Oh, that's just pure cinema right there. When she goes to get Newt back, the thing counts down 14 minutes till destruction. It's in real time. Look at the clock.
Oh, I love it.
14 minutes.
James Cameron's all about the real time.
Love that.
Yeah.
That is like, attention to detail.
Yeah.
The tension in this movie is really high. This scared me as a kid. Like when the lady's cocoon and she's like, kill me.
Yeah.
Bursts out. When they are the walls around them. That freaked me out when I was a kid. Bill Paxton, game over, man.
Yeah, so good.
So good.
James Cameron connection. Yeah, because he was in Titanic.
And Terminator 1.
Oh, you're right.
He's
one of the favorites.
He's one of the punks at the beginning that tries to when Arnie's stealing the clothes.
Wow. Well, and this is one of these, and not to spoil the rest of your list, because I don't know if the original's on there or not, but this is one of those franchises where it is of some worthy debate of which one is better. I personally think I'm a 2-man myself, which is weird because I don't really like the character of Newt at all, but I just think it's a better film overall. But I think 1's great too. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a valid discussion.
I also, like I mentioned earlier, I love the Alien universe.
Yeah.
And most of Alien universe stuff is derived from this film. Mm-hmm. This is fairly lore heavy, and a lot, at least if you try and extract it. Like, there's a lot to actually pick up on, especially in the earlier stages of the film, and the action's just awesome.
Yeah,
like when they're when they're in the vents and they're just, it's one thing to have the one alien, but when there's so many, but you're like equipped to handle it, and also all the Marines are pretty great. Mm-hmm. They all have their own personalities. Like the really tough woman that has like the big gun that's like massive. The guy, I don't remember the actor's name, but the guy that plays Kyle Reese in Terminator is also in this.
Oh, Mm-hmm.
He's really good in it. I think it's awesome with the android. Like, you think he's going to be bad, but then he's not.
Yeah.
Also, the Queen Alien fight at the end.
I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, that's epic.
But yeah, Ripley going back in with the machine gun, duct taped to the flamethrower, Newt in the other arm. Like, what a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. My only gripe with this movie is the first hour.
Okay. So half of the movie stinks, but the last half is good.
No. Well, so it's this movie's
is this a pacing issue?
I think it's almost 2:17, I think. So it's not that
long.
It is long, but like
short for Cameron, but long for most directors.
But my only issue is the first hour is necessary. I'm not saying it makes it worse, but it makes it worse on any subsequent watch.
Okay.
Because it's purely justifying the plot.
Everything else. Yeah.
So once you know that, don't care about that, just skip the first hour. But I just think that isn't the greatest design writing decision to not show an alien for almost 50% of the movie,
right?
Because really, that's what people want. You know, I'm just saying.
But I feel like
probably could have justified things sooner.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I feel like this was also made in a more sort of slow burn era. Now, yeah, you would have to show your hand way sooner, I think. But I don't know. I mean, think about The Thing. Think about how long really before. Well, I guess we do see something right.
The thing takes a bit, but it's not. It's not nowhere close to an hour.
No, that's true.
It's yeah.
Right.
But love Aliens. Grew up with this one on VHS. It's a Jobe household.
Classic in that house.
Speaking of Jobe household classics, we got Terminator 2 at number 45.
Wow, so this is back-to-back Cameron.
That's right.
He's the highest on your list so far. This is the third entry. Wow. Okay.
This movie has my favorite movie cover.
Like the DVD, the Arnold.
Let me show a little box.
Yeah, let's see the box. Yeah, I mean, what a classic shot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Classic
shot. The shotgun, the glowing red eye, and the bike, leather jacket. Awesome.
I remember when that movie came out, and that was huge. That was probably the number one of the summer.
Yeah. So, a couple things about this movie. I remember my dad and my brother watched this, and I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Really?
And here's why I wasn't
in the household that let you watch Braveheart at 3.
It wasn't because of the violence.
Okay.
Is because
is there like a big sex scene or something?
No, it was because I was scared of a lot of stuff. I was traumatized by The Mummy, Studio on Zombie Island, things like that, and I have nightmares. And they really thought that I'd be afraid of the T-1000s. Relentless pursuit and never always chasing them, which is a valid concern.
Valid.
But we had this on VHS, and I just kept staring at this horror. I would literally just lay on the ground staring at this VHS.
Wow.
Just being like, I want to watch this so bad. Because I'd seen the first one.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah.
That's interesting you were allowed to watch the first one, but not this one. I agree this one's more intense.
Questionable gauging. But, yeah, that's the story.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think this is the best action movie that was ever made for the time. Like, in 1991... This Die Hard did it in 1988. This took it to the next level. Yeah. Above that. This is
and I agree with that. And these are both movies I did not see till I was well into adulthood, well after they were released. But yeah, I completely agree. I think both Die Hard and T2 are like touchstones in elevating the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And oh man, there's so much to talk about Terminator 2. Why it's so good. One of the first things I want to talk about is the sound in this movie. The shotgun blast just and when he's on the bike, just like reload. It's so
that's a
cool.
classic. That's a classic.
And you know what? I read this that the shotgun model or whatever, it holds X amount of shots, and he uses all of the shots of the thing. He doesn't use an extra one. It's James
Cameron.
Attention to detail.
I'll say what I want about Avatar, but like the guy, really, the attention to detail is insane for his movies.
Yes, and when he's like shooting the chains on the gate to get through on the bike, and like the whole like ravine. Anytime I see that in real life, I think of Terminator 2.
I believe it.
There's the Grease like race or whatever, but that's like nonsense.
Wow. Yeah.
But the Terminator 2, it's so good. John Connor's character is great. His relationship with the Terminator. He's never had a father figure. He's kind of a punk, but he's really smart. And I guess I kind of like relate to that a little bit.
Fair.
But yeah, he's just James Cameron has said like all his movies are love stories. Yeah. His relationship with the Terminator kind of like father and son, and the other one was Ripley with Newt, kind of mother-daughter. But yeah, the story's also really good. Even if you could take or leave the action, the story's just good.
Yeah, it really is.
The time travel stuff with the artificial intelligence taking over, this is that thing. This is kind of like, I'm sure there's books or whatever before, but this is the thing. There's iRobot, but like the time travel aspect of it is so clever. And I watched the Terminator 1 and 2 with Amalia recently. She had never seen them. And you take for granted that yeah, Arnold's good in this one, but she didn't know that, and she's like,
right.
You don't know until the mall when the T-1000 shooting at John Connor, and he just gets in the way and takes the bullets and like shoots again. She's just Amalia just audibly is like, "What is happening?"
Yeah,
and I'm just like, "You don't know."
Right.
And it's so clever when he just like has the roses and he just steps on the roses. It's so good.
Yeah.
Or like
good action
with
for
the
sure.
the like grenade launcher, the
yeah.
Love the ending.
Mhm.
It's sad to me. When
we don't need to talk about it specifically.
Yeah. The Hasta La Vista baby is great.
Yeah, I mean one of the classic Arnold lines, of course.
Yeah. All the I'll be back.
Yeah.
And Sarah Connor is awesome in this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Strong female.
Another strong female. James Cameron again.
And
we
you
got
know,
that
she was good in the first one, but this one, she's really comes into her own.
Yeah.
Man.
What a movie.
There's not a lot of negative. This is like a solid 9 in my opinion.
Okay. That's good.
You know, there's a scene, an epilogue scene afterwards that I really like, that I don't think other people generally like, that isn't present in most versions, that concludes everything. It flashes forward to the future, and it concludes the whole narrative, and I like that canon ending because the rest of the movies are nonsense.
Yeah.
It's like, it should
they're
just
not,
be
they're not very, I know, they're not
it's
very
like,
good.
in Terminator 2, it's like, okay, everything's resolved.
Yeah.
So, like, why are we even making more?
Right.
So,
yeah.
I love that epilogue. Anytime I show it to people, I at least look it up on YouTube if it's not on the release we're looking at.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I saw one with that, so.
Yeah. All right, number 44. Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, wow. Okay, Scorsese again.
Mm-hmm. I do have problems with the third act.
Okay.
Once
I think this is a movie that is too long. This goes over 3.
This is 3 hours
and
exactly.
Is it 3 exactly? Okay.
Yeah. Also has the most curse words of any film.
Correct. Which, a longer runtime obviously helps that along a little bit.
Jonah Hill's amazing in this.
Jonah Hill's so good in this.
Leo's amazing in this.
Yeah.
I think he...
As always, he's great.
I don't know who won this year, but he should have been close. He did really well.
Yeah, it was funny. One day, my buddy Tim and I looked up all the Leo nominations and saw who he was against. And we were like, I can't really argue that. I don't know. Yeah, like most of them were like justifiable. I don't know who won this year, though.
2013.
I'd have to look it up.
Oh, I'm just thinking that Hugh Jackman statement's going to get retracted in a little bit here.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, this movie's just so much fun. Such a blast to watch. The fast and loose money, just like and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, talk about an impactful character for about 3 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he's in 2 or 3 scenes.
And you know what? I'm gonna be starting.
But they put it in the trailer, so everybody
I'm gonna be starting
remembered.
a job in a few weeks. That's kind of
Wolf of Wall Street.
In a little bit.
We selling some penny stocks over there.
It's not selling stocks, but it's brokering deals and
interesting
commission and like they made it clear. We it's all about the profits. Like,
okay,
you know what I mean?
Wow.
And they don't drug test you, so like people are probably doing the cocaine stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And it's just I watched this right after I got the job. Like
okay.
And it is just that kind of elevated it for me. This is actually Skate Guy's favorite movie.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
This movie's just a blast.
Like,
what would you do if you just had a ton of money and you were 16 again?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just so great fun to watch.
So guess who won that year? Someone that's already come up a couple of times on your list.
2013?
Yeah, and I think it is very deserved, no offense to Leo. Matthew McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh, that's right.
I can't deny that he deserved that win.
I do like that movie.
Yeah.
I like that Jared Leto won for that one.
Yeah, Jared Leto was great in that as well.
I think Leo's probably better in Wolf of Wall Street than Matthew.
All right.
Listen, it
was part of the McConaissance. You had all his movies really hitting, so I guess it makes sense. But
yeah, once the feds get off the boat, basically from then on, it's like
it goes downhill a bit for you.
Yeah, and then like they get caught in that storm on the boat. It's just like, is this really? But I wouldn't mind the movie being 4 hours.
Really?
If it was like
if it was the first part.
If it was the first 2,
and it ends with the feds getting onto the boat, and that's where it ends. That's what you would like?
Maybe like 15
Or a
minutes.
little bit of an epilogue. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
got
I
it.
mean, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
But
the
not a
third
full
act. The
hour
third
of
act
that.
is like not really enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay.
But the first two is just like a blast. It's a great movie to watch with friends too.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
It's a good time. All right, number 43. We have our only Studio Ghibli,
Oh wow!
only Miyazaki film.
All right, let me. I was gonna guess Spirited Away.
Yes.
That's what I was gonna guess.
Yes,
Okay.
this is the first one I saw.
That's kind of the
but that's not
classic.
really the reason why it's
Okay.
here. I just like this one by quite a large margin the most. I
Mhm.
like pretty much all of them. I've seen almost all of them, and I don't dislike any of them except for Howl's Moving Castle, which is one of Molly's favorite movies.
Oh,
so
okay.
She's just gonna chastise me
Yeah.
for that. That's a very unpopular opinion, by the way. That's like
Yeah, people love that.
A lot of
one.
people love that.
A lot of people love it. Yeah,
one.
that's one I've not seen, but I have seen Spirited Away.
Yeah, the plot makes no sense. I've even asked people that read the book and are like experts.
Okay.
Anyway, Spirited Away is awesome. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just really creative, really great animation. The score is really good.
All the Miyazaki
characters.
sort of standards.
Yeah, I think
What puts this one above, though?
So one aspect I would say is pacing,
Okay.
which
Big on the pacing.
all of his movies I think they're really slow. Even if they're good,
That's
they're
one of
all
my
slow.
issue with a little bit of the Miyazaki's, but
They're all slow. Like,
yeah.
pretty slow.
Mm-hmm.
This one doesn't feel as slow to me.
Okay.
It's also just the most interesting. The Haku character, Haku, that turns into the dragon. You're kind of questioning his allegiances throughout the film. Her parents turning into pigs. It's like really crazy at the beginning. The no-face black monster eating all the stuff is in. And you know what's really cool when she changes her name to Sen from Chikiro or something like that. She forgets her name, but she like told to remember it, but she forgets it, and it's an important plot point. And then you, as the viewer, also forget it. You, at least I do.
Okay.
Even though, because they repeat it so often that it's Sen. It's like, and then when it comes time for her to remember, she doesn't remember. It's like, oh yeah, what
Interesting.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw this when I was a kid, it blew me away.
Okay.
It blew me away. And I think it holds up really well. I think this is a pretty timeless movie. I don't think it'll age at all.
And I think there was a fair amount of Miyazaki on the collective's top 50 list on Joe's channel. Not in my top 50, but I'm sure.
Joe had a lot.
Well, I know Justin loves Spirited Away, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was on his.
Mm-hmm.
I think Howl's was on Joe's. Joe might have had another one too.
We'll have to talk about that.
Totoro.
My Neighbor Totoro.
I think he likes that one
That's
a lot
pretty magical.
too. So yeah, there was a few I think representations.
I guess that's another aspect that kind of applies to all of them is they just feel magical.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I think that's definitely a Miyazaki hallmark.
Yeah, just there's just so much creativity and heart and soul poured into it, and it's just so clear the passion in the project, and everything's just really good.
Now we're getting to the really top ones because he doesn't have many negatives to say about any of these.
I don't have much negative to say about Spirited Away. It's just really good. It does have the Miyazaki slowness.
Yeah.
But not as bad, I think, as other ones.
Okay.
Number 42, As Good as It Gets.
Oh, now this was definitely on Joe's list. This also won Best Picture, right?
Nope.
Did not. Well, I know Helen Hunt won
and
Jack Nicholson won.
In
So
97.
the two.
Which
was it Shakespeare in Love Again? Oh, no, that was 98.
No.
97 was...
Titanic.
Oh, well, sorry, As Good as It Gets.
I think 97 is one of the very best movies.
Really?
I mean, it also has Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Perfect Blue, which I know you haven't seen, but it's
Yeah,
a really
don't
good
know
movie. Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, that's a really good one,
There's
too.
a lot of good ones in 97.
Okay. Yeah, this is a great movie. And one of the few rom-coms, really, on your list. I mean, it's certainly not a rom-com in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
It's more of a rom-com, like a Silver Linings Playbook or something, but...
Yeah, I guess it is technically. I don't think of it that way in my head, so when I said Annie Hall is my favorite...
Yeah. Do you just think of it as a general...
I just think of it as a...
romance movie, or is that not even part of it
I think of it kind of as a light drama.
Okay.
But I don't...
I think realistically, I think it's a romantic comedy.
Sure.
But, like all really good romantic comedies. I think it does a lot of things differently from the standard. Yeah, great performances for sure.
Yeah, I have a little thing here that I wrote
Oh,
right after I watched it.
Let's
that
hear
I'm just
about
gonna
it.
read off.
Okay,
That'll basically
I want to
explain
hear
why.
it.
It is serendipitous, laugh out loud funny, deeply sad, and painfully relatable. And the best part, it nails all of this while always feeling natural and effortless. The story follows a depressed gay artist, a single mother with a sick child, and a Scrooge with OCD. The plot often seems directionless, but I believe that actually works to the film's benefit, as one's life is rarely clear. Instead, the story takes its time to organically develop with a pacing that is spot on. I was captivated from start to finish. Character growth and plot progression feel truly believable and earned. I would also venture to say that it is one of the most quotable movies I've ever seen. There's a lot of good quotes in this one.
Yeah, a lot of good quotes in this one.
Perfect cast and extraordinarily acted. As good as it gets. Truly is as good as films get.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah.
What a review.
So that's basically my take on the
You
movie.
probably don't know Helen Hunt, really, except for Twister or something, right?
Yeah, but I saw Twister like forever ago.
So
she's in something else.
Twister is not good, but Helen Hunt was at the time really only known for this sitcom that she did called Mad About You with Paul Reiser, who plays Miles Teller's dad in Whiplash, and many other things. But she won like the Best Actress Emmy in a TV comedy like for years, maybe 4 years in a row. And then this movie came out, and we were all like, "Oh my god!" Like, because the only thing she did was Twister, which like it's a popcorn movie, but it's not a really like actor showcase. And she was so great in this. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
I'm so happy she won the Oscar for this.
Yeah, she deserved it.
And even like over Kate Winslet for Titanic.
Yeah,
which I've always kind of been salty about that because I think her and
Kate
Leo
Winslet's
did amazingly in the movie. But she'll get her time. Helen Hunt, this is her one. This is her.
This
best,
is it. God bless her. But I
think there's a certain scene with her mother where she's crying. And it's just like yeah. I love the characters in this movie.
And this is directed by James L. Brooks, who was, if he wasn't a co-creator, he was certainly a heavy producer and writer on The Simpsons for the first many years.
Awesome.
So
yeah, this is probably one of I think it might be the actual top of this whole list in terms of just an ordinary movie about ordinary people going through life. It's kind of a slice of life thing.
Yeah,
and it just this movie's really underrated, I think.
Also, and I will say, I don't know how factual this is, but to my reckoning, as a gay man, like it was the first time I remember seeing a gay character on screen that wasn't either stereotypical or the butt of a joke. Like he was just a regular person,
really good at acting,
and like what a well written character he was. Yeah,
great movie.
Yeah, good choice.
All right, number 41, The Raid.
Oh, you introduced me to The Raid, actually,
or The Raid Redemption.
The Raid Redemption, yeah technically. Yeah, you introduced me to this movie.
I think this movie has the best action of any movie. Now the story,
great action.
The story's very whatever.
I mean, it's almost non-existent, really.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
but that could work.
There is actually a little bit more story than I would even want. Like, I kind of wish they would just be like, here's just the thing. But the martial arts in this is second to none. You've seen this one?
Yeah, you showed it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we watch this at Tony's?
We watched it here at my house.
Oh, I don't remember.
And yeah. Well, you had already seen it several times. It was my first time, and I don't know if I'd ever even heard of it.
I also have a good memory of this one. This is the first movie I ever watched in college.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of meeting some random guys, and we had like a big group of like 6 or 7 guys, and we just put this on. I had never seen it. It was like a good guy.
Okay,
movie.
Yeah, it's a really good guy movie. That's for sure.
And so
male bonding movie.
Yeah, I made like some friends that I maybe otherwise wouldn't have.
Love that.
But yeah, it's just a blast. Best action of any film, like I said. And I know that's a really hot take. Or bold claim, I'll say. Bold claim, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it gets better.
Yeah.
Number 40. We have...
Top 40 now.
Evangelion 1.0, You Are Not Alone.
Okay. Is this part of that other thing?
No.
Evangelion, whatever?
So this is a remake of the story. So
okay.
here's the
So we heard, if you didn't see part 1 of this, what was it? What was it called?
Neon
Neon
Genesis,
Genesis
Evangelion.
Evangelion. Okay, so this is related,
end of
a
Evangelion,
remake or something to that.
So basically, there's the original show, and then the end of Evangelion is the movie that bookends the show.
Okay.
And then this is a retelling of the story that deviates from the original narrative. Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with Fullmetal Alchemist and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I know you haven't
Joe's
seen it, but
gonna
are you
kill
familiar?
me. That is Joe's all-time favorite anime, but I still haven't watched it.
Yeah, so like there's the
I know
original
kind of
show,
about it, but
and then
yeah.
they made Brotherhood, which is based off the source material.
Okay.
Like deviates, or
Yeah.
like the original deviates from that.
Okay.
This is the same concept. So this is the retelling, and I'm a big fan of the series.
Yeah,
like,
clearly.
I love it. Like I want art of it, and it's great. And when people said that some people like this better, I'm just like, let's just see this and just not like this.
Yeah, going with
yeah.
the chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, and I can tell you it's better.
Well, yeah, it's
which is
way
like,
higher up on your list.
Well, that was just the end of the show.
Okay.
Before. It
Gotcha,
wasn't
gotcha.
represented, but like this is just
wow. Okay.
I just gush over
what
this
a fan.
because it tells basically the same portion. So you really should watch the show first if you're ever going to experience this, because it kind of goes faster, you know, because I think it kind of expects you to kind of know the people so that it can.
That makes sense, right?
This is in 2007 versus 1995, and it looks amazing.
Okay,
the music's incredible. The credit song actually pretty much brings me to tears.
Wow,
it's so beautiful.
Okay.
And credit songs, I usually just don't care at all about. The Lord of the Rings is an exception. Their credit songs are really good, and these ones, that's pretty much it.
Wow,
and the credit song, like just thinking about it, just gets me emotional. It's just so powerful. The creativity in this, if you don't know, the premise is sort of giant robots, but it's not like Transformers garbage. There's these things called angels coming down. Angels are the monsters that they're fighting. But yeah, again, the main character's kind of a coward. He's the son of the director who's doing this corporation to save the earth, and there's all this backstory and secrets and all these interesting things and very deep philosophical things. The characters are deep, nuanced, believable, great. Just the writing is so good. The action is really intense. You're on the edge of your seat. Everybody's working together, like fighting for this thing. It's just epic. There's not enough good. I don't have enough good things to say about this. I have like basically no criticisms of it. It's just really excellent. And
that's good. That's good for top 40.
Yeah,
I think we shouldn't have too many criticisms in our 40 favorite movies.
Yeah. Okay, number 39, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Okay.
This is a movie that is not Justin Bate. This is not the type of movie that I normally like.
Okay, so what was it about, I wonder?
It's about LGBTQ stuff, sort of.
Okay, love
which is normally like not a theme that I care about particularly. Not that it's not important. It's certainly very important, but it's not
you're
like
not drawn to it.
Yeah, I'm just not drawn to it. But the execution of this is just so much better than anything else I've seen.
Wow.
I actually think this movie's a 10 out of 10.
Now that's rare. We've had less than 15.
Rare.
Ever. Out of probably well over 1,500, 2,000 movies.
I didn't really expect to like this movie very much, but it's just solely highly regarded. I'm like, all right. It's also foreign, which is usually a little bit of a disadvantage for me.
You've got a few foreigns on there, though.
Yeah. But this movie's immaculate.
Wow.
Visually, this is the cinematography, the production design, the costumes, the makeup, the acting, the script, the ending's really good. Like the pacing's slow, but it doesn't feel bad. Like I'm engaged the whole time, even though there's not that much progression. It's very much a theme-driven film, but it's one of those things where I have to just be like, wow, this is just so great. It's just mastery.
Of all the ones on your list that I haven't seen, I feel like this is the one I should watch
also,
first.
There's no men in this movie.
Really?
Well, there's like, at some point, there's like some men in the background, but there's no male characters.
No kidding.
They're all women.
Wow, all right.
Female characters.
There's a lot of female-heavy movies on your list.
Yeah, I suppose.
Enjoying that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it especially... And I like it this much when I'm not really that drawn to that theme. For people that are drawn to that theme, do not skip this movie.
Yeah, I can't miss it now, I guess.
Yeah, I have no negative things.
What year was this? Is this recent?
2019.
Well, that's very recent.
It's a French film.
Yeah, that's
So
probably
that's
why
why
it got away from me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't miss it.
Very good.
Also, really powerful symbolism. It's great. Number 38. This at one point was my favorite movie, Gladiator.
I was gonna say, if it's not Braveheart, it's got to be Gladiator then.
Yeah, I do think this is superior to Braveheart.
Mm-hmm. This won Best Picture as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, this movie's good. I normally don't love Joaquin Phoenix. I recognize that
I don't either.
He's a really good actor.
He's talented, but yeah.
But every character he plays is a lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one.
Yeah, I agree.
Show me a Joaquin Phoenix role where he's not a lunatic.
Yeah.
But such a great villain in this. You haven't seen it.
I've not seen it.
Okay,
I know.
I won't say too much.
My other friend Justin let me borrow it literally 12 years ago, and I still haven't watched it.
I really think you'll like it. It's violent, but
we were gonna maybe try and watch it while you were here this visit.
Also, the soundtrack of this movie is worthy of buying the soundtrack.
Okay.
My mom bought it. And
wow.
we used to play it at my house.
Yeah, I could see this having good orchestral pieces.
It's
another Ridley Scott. This is now the third, I think, because Blade Runner. Well, Aliens was James Cameron.
Yeah, so
I thought there was a third one though. I know we talked about a bunch of different ones, but
yeah, I think you're expecting Aliens.
I think I'm maybe expecting Alien. Maybe that's why. I don't know if it's coming or not, but okay.
But yeah, Gladiator is really good. Do not watch the extended. It's just 20 or 30 minutes of filler. I think if I rewatch, because my most recent viewing was that, and it lowered into my mind. But I think if I rewatched it, it may even be higher on this list.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It's weird having something at 38 that used to be number one. It feels like, but
yeah,
I've just seen so many other things that I like more since.
I think that's fair though. I mean, for me, Wizard of Oz is like number one, always number one forever. But it's like, am I gonna see a movie at some point that could dethrone that?
Yeah,
I don't know. At this point, probably not. I mean, I've lived half my life already, but this. Yeah, when I met you, this was your top.
Yeah, I think it was like Braveheart for like till I was like a teenager. Then it was Gladiator until it's in college. Then it changed.
Yeah,
and yeah.
Okay.
All right, number 37, Capernaum.
Oh,
this is a 10 out of 10.
Don't know this one.
I can confidently say that this is a 10.
Another 10 out of 10. Okay, wait. I have a question before we continue. Are all your 10 out of 10s represented in this list? Because my list certainly did not have, my list is not all A pluses, that's for sure.
Yes.
But, okay.
They are all on the list.
Okay.
Some of them, like, I really debated. But,
yeah. Capernaum. So now tell me about this.
This is one of the most realistic movies I've ever seen.
Okay.
In terms of the way it's, like, the cinematography, the production design and everything, it really feels like you're viewing this thing. And it takes place it might take place in Capernaum itself. Mm-hmm. I think it's a Lebanese movie or Saudi Arabian. It's something like that. It's Middle Eastern of some kind. But the premise is Justin Bate.
Okay.
But telling the premise is a little bit of a giveaway.
Okay.
But just know that there's a conflict between a child and his parents.
Okay.
And
that is Justin Bate for sure.
Yeah. And the way that develops is so brilliant.
Huh.
It kind of makes you empathize with one side, but then when you understand the perspective of the other, you kind of want their side and then the other side. And then you really understand both sides.
Right.
And that's a really powerful thing. But outside of that, it also has to do with poverty. And it's so thematically rich. And it feels so real. It seems like you're watching something that happened.
Okay.
And that makes it so much. It doesn't hold back anything. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like a movie, and it just hits so hard. And yeah, it can feel a little slow at a couple portions, but other than that, I think this movie's flawless.
And what year was this? Is this recent as well?
Yeah, this is 2018.
Okay. I miss a lot of the foreign movies, I have to say.
This is.
I usually watch like the Oscar-nominated foreign movies, and then everything else, I'm kind of like, I just
the
run
fact
out of time
that
to
this
watch.
Didn't win Best Picture is like pretty annoying.
Was it nominated for a Best Foreign Language film?
I don't know.
Because I don't think I've even heard of it.
But this movie's ridiculously good.
How did you find it? This was one that was highly on IMDb.
Yeah, it's like number 80 or something.
Okay. Yeah. This is, I mean, listen, this guy went, if you missed the first half, I mean, you've really been going hard at watching all of the top 50 IMDb. You've looked at the letterbox, top 250, I'm sorry. You've looked at the letterboxed, you know, for some guidance. You've looked at some Oscar winners for some guidance.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time, just because it's weirdly fun for me, looking up all of the great movies, and I watch them all.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you were hitting two to three a day for months.
Yeah.
In preparation for this, so.
Number 36, we have Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring.
Okay, and this is the first one.
Second. Yes, the first one.
The first one, right? The second on your list, but I meant the first of the trilogy.
The first one.
Yeah, okay.
So here's why I like this one a lot more than the Two Towers, because, you know, like 50 slots higher or whatever.
Right.
55 slots. There's a lot of fantastical things in this one.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Balrog. You have them going. There's the Watcher in the Water, the big squid thing that grabs Frodo. Right. That's really cool. You have the cave troll in Moria. That's really awesome.
I forgot all
You have all of the Nazgul, which are the Black Riders, the Ring Wraiths.
Okay.
Which I think it's a mistake narratively not include them as much in the second and third movies, because they're so
I barely remember them.
They're so intense and awesome in the first. The tension when he's like overlooking the tree roots when they're hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. It starts off a little slow in the Shire, sure, but
we're having fun. We're getting to know the characters.
Yeah, and I love Gandalf in this movie. Yeah, Gandalf is my favorite in the Fellowship. I just don't like Gandalf the White that much, but Gandalf the Grey is just awesome.
Classic.
Love his dialogue. Yeah, how he's a mentor to Frodo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, Aragorn's great. Boromir, Sean Bean is just really
Sean Bean's great in this
character
series.
Great character in this movie.
Yeah.
Aragorn has like an epic battle with the Lurtz, who's the leader of the Uruk-hai, if you remember when they do a big battle. He's the guy that was with the arrows in Boromir. The assembling of the Fellowship and everything, the world building, they go to many different geographical areas. I just think from a fantasy, for someone that really likes fantasy, this one is a lot more appealing to me than the Two Towers, which is mostly kind of like, okay, we're going to transition to the next movie. Yeah. But it's Lord of the Rings, which I've grown up with, I love, so I felt like I had to have it on here somewhere. Yeah. I do really like it. It's still an excellent movie.
I think, and I'm not really much of a fantasy person, but I agree with the ranking of, you know, the second one is probably the weakest, first one, second, and then we haven't heard it yet, but we know it's on there somewhere because we've talked about it. I think the third one is the best one. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see where that lands on the list.
Mm-hmm. Number 35, we have Fight Club.
Oh, yeah, you do love a good Fight Club. Mm-hmm. I've seen this one a couple times.
Yeah, this movie's great. Wow. David Fincher.
I think Fincher's a great director.
One of the best today.
Yeah.
Still doing stuff.
I would agree.
I like a lot of David Fincher movies, but this one is my favorite. We can't really even talk about it. It's against the rules. Honestly,
Well, I think it has a lot of the things that you've already established that you really, really like. I think the themes of this, the sort of, you know, holding it up to society's mirror, you know, like all of these things that
it's just funny
have
too.
Continued to, yeah, there's some funny moments.
Love
for sure.
Brad Pitt in this movie.
Yeah.
And Ed Norton is also one of my favorite actors, actually.
Is he?
Like top 10.
Okay.
Because he's just always so slimy, usually. Not in this one.
No, not in this one.
Yeah, I love a good.
Interesting. Okay.
Really good addition.
I didn't know that.
To any movie, really.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's just obviously great.
Yeah.
So. All right. Number 34.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty passionate about this movie being criminally underrated.
Ooh, okay.
The Revenant.
Oh, yeah. No, this is what Leo did win the Oscar for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, when I saw this movie, I saw it in college with a group of friends, and everyone didn't like it. But me. And I was blown away completely at how good this is.
Wow.
And I felt physically different watching it. I felt cold and like it is visceral. Mm-hmm. The way that Leo's acting, I actually think this is Leo's best performance straight up.
Wow. Okay.
I remember when I finished the movie, I said, I think that's the best acting performance I've ever seen in my life.
So really, then it's just as well he didn't win for Wolf of Wall Street, because he wouldn't have won for this probably.
Because they kind of gave it to him.
Yeah, I mean, they were like, we owe you for your last 20 years of cinema.
Yeah, I mean, the bear part, the part with the son, Tom Hardy is insanely good in this.
Yeah, this is like, I don't really like Tom Hardy anymore because I think his last like 5 movies have been terrible. But like, this was like when he was just, every movie he made was just killing it.
This movie is so good.
I wonder if, because I don't really care for it either. I think I gave it a B or something. I wonder if I would have felt differently, though, if I watched it in a theater. Because I didn't. I saw it. It was like the Oscars was coming up in like a week, and I still hadn't seen it. So I ended up downloading it and just like watching it on my little TV upstairs. This does seem like a movie that you could get much more immersed in.
Yeah, it is an immersive thing. I was fully immersed in it.
So I wonder.
It is a little longer than it should be, but not by a lot.
Okay.
It is long, but it justifies its length, I think, in a lot of ways. I think the setting, the time period / location, there's nothing else that holds a candle to this for what that is.
The atmosphere of this movie is incredible.
Yeah, like a snowy, late 1800s, Native American area, people trying to like get their pelts and whatever, make their way.
Get their furs.
Yeah, like other stuff doesn't do that.
No.
I haven't seen another movie that does that. You know, they're always just like in the fields, like Dances with Wolves or whatever, which I like. But this is a unique, this is a unique movie.
Yeah,
and I think people don't give it credit that, you know, but it's like, well, what else does that? This movie's great.
Yeah,
it does what it does better than any other movie that I know.
And the bear scene is very classic.
It's just really good, man. Like Leo's expression, like what he goes through, like the perseverance, the endurance, and you just feel his pain, and like the things he has to go through, like going in the horse and like keeping warm. He just fights so hard.
I forgot about the horse.
Also, I'm a sucker for a good revenge story.
Yes, you love revenge,
and this is like revenge story. But it's more than that too. The Native American stuff is also really insightful into what they had to go through with the white people like invading their land. This movie's excellent.
All right, you know what,
and I don't hear anybody else talk about
maybe I'll give it another try. Because I was in that camp. I didn't hate it, but I thought it was kind of overrated when it came out because it was getting all these critical raves, but nobody now talks about it. It was hot for about a month, and then
this traditionally is a lot higher on my list, actually, even than above this.
Oh, okay.
But other stuff.
We gotta be fair.
Next one, Alien.
I knew it had to be coming. All right, so that's your third Ridley Scott.
Number 33, Alien.
Okay.
This and Aliens have pretty much always been adjacent for me.
I go back and forth.
Like when I was younger, I liked Aliens way more. Just because it was scarier even. And the action and everything else. This movie also, you don't see the alien for the first hour. This is only a 2-hour movie though.
Right.
But
so what pulls this one a little bit higher?
So what pulls this higher is I think the movie's more perfect. I think this movie's very clean. It doesn't have... It's kind of tough because I do think this movie's excellent, but I also think most people would not think it is. Like, yes, it's known to be really great, and a lot of people know that are into films, but, you know, if I show this to just like I just made a new friend and I'm like, they're not going to be blown away by this movie probably.
No, that's a good point.
And I think a large part of that is you need to be in the right setting for this, the right headspace, the right atmosphere. When I watched this when I was younger, I was just like, okay, this is kind of like set up for Aliens. But as an adult, I watched it alone in my room. No distractions, pure darkness, laser focus, and the tension is palpable.
Do you know where I watched it? I've only seen it once. We did it when we were doing Film Fanatics, going through the Oscar movies alphabetically. And I watched this on an airplane. It was a flight at night, so all the lights were out. And I put my headphones in, and it was on a pretty small screen, really. But maybe it was on my laptop. But anyway, that's how I watched it. I shut everybody around me was kind of sleeping, and
You got the tension.
and I was immersed. Yeah.
I think
I think it's a great way to watch it.
The ceiling of this movie is high.
Yeah.
If you get that experience, this is just like one of the great things to watch. I've only had that experience one time though, because every other time I've watched it with people, and it's like, okay, that was solid, I guess.
Right.
Like I watched it with the mall, I thought it was like a 6 out of 10, and Aliens is like an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Because
I'm much closer.
It just doesn't wow you if you're not in that headspace. But yeah, like with Ripley with the sweat like coming up, like my dad has a good story about this. He saw it in college when it was in theaters. And
oh yeah.
Nothing. He didn't even know it was a horror movie. He knew nothing.
Wow.
Just that it was called Alien. And he said he came out shaking.
Wow.
Like, trembling.
And your dad's a big sci-fi guy.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Love that.
I really appreciate the craft in this one. The first hour, again, you don't see the alien, but it's a lot more interesting to me than in Aliens. Aliens is all, like, plot justification and character development of the Marines. But this is, like... lore and world building more in that phase. The other one has more of that in the second phase, but this stuff that's in the first phase and this is really interesting and ties into Prometheus, which is another movie I really like that didn't quite make this list because the lore stuff and world building and that is the most interesting of any of them. But this couples with that well.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay. Number 32. I think this is a 10 out of 10.
Ooh, okay.
And I think it is in the top 5 greatest movies I've ever seen.
Ooh, okay.
Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yeah. My first Kubrick.
Oh, my goodness. Gravy gracious. This movie is good. I watched it. I watched this in college. And
that's the perfect time to watch it. When
yes.
you're like 19, 20.
Yeah, with our one friend, her sister, who's like 12, watched it with us.
Oh, dear.
Goodness gravy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we watched in this tiny room with 13 people, just like everybody on the floor.
Yeah.
And nobody talked during this movie.
Wow.
Well, during like the certain
slower
stuff.
scenes, maybe. Yeah.
Well, no, like during the kind of like more wild things.
Oh, gotcha.
But
once the story got going.
Yeah, people were into this.
Huh.
And that was unusual for college.
Yeah.
People didn't shut up a lot of the time. But people were into this, and for good reason. I actually had to pause this movie. I looked up on my seat. I watched this recently for the second time. I knew it was great from the first time, but I needed to rewatch it. And I was embarrassed that I gave this movie an 8 out of 10 originally.
Really?
I was ashamed of myself. I was like... I had to pause this movie and look at the ceiling. And I literally audibly said, like 5 times, this is ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. Holy crap.
The only time I've seen this was at a theater.
In 71?
No.
Oh, wait.
I'm not that old.
Obviously.
No, in the Midtown Cinema here in Harrisburg ran like a midnight show of it. And it was one of my friend's like favorite movies. So she's like, "Oh, we got to go see this. I want to watch this." I'm like, "I guess." And yeah, it was pretty cool to kind of see it in that environment.
This movie's absurdly good. It's like, now I will say,
okay, here's the negative.
I don't love certain things in the last 20 minutes, half hour. With the government. I don't really care about the government themes that much. The themes that involve that. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't care about government themes, but in this movie, how they do it, it's not like I don't really care about that, and I'm just not that interested in some of the scenes.
Okay.
But the first portion is just like the greatest like block. It's like
people love this movie.
The first shot of him with the milk, and it just coming, like, you don't know anything about this world, this time period, and it's just like coming out, and it's like, what? Oh, what? Oh, and he's just like narrating with his milk, just like smiling. It's just like, what is this? This is just pure gold. Oh,
all right, that's a high praise then. One of the few 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
Embarrassed that you gave it an 8.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
Goodness, and also I really like movies that are bold and for their time. This movie came out in 1971, and it's
insanely daring and
it's a rated
unique.
X movie.
Yeah,
it's you know, it's like one of there's Straw Dogs and The Devils, which are the only movies that even compete with this as the most hardcore movie ever made.
The original Straw Dogs with Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
That and the movie called The Devils.
Okay.
This and those two. So even outside of its greatness, like take the historical context. Like this would be a 10 out of 10 if it came out now, but 1971.
Yeah.
We're talking 50 years ago.
Crazy.
It's just so impressive to me. Yeah. And there's all this symbolism with the clockwork and the orange and what the colors mean. It's just great. All right, number 31, my top Akira Kurosawa film, Ron.
Oh, okay.
I know, I think it was...
I haven't seen this, but you've told me about
one of your friends, I think it was Joe, who also really likes this one.
Yes, I think you're right. That makes sense.
This has my favorite costumes of any film.
Ooh,
which is
good costumes.
Not something I normally care about.
You don't really
very
care
much,
about that, yeah.
But just, it's like, these are just immaculate.
Okay.
Gorgeous. The cinematography is amazing. The narrative I also think is amazing, though it is... I found out after the movie finished that it's based off something else, which made me appreciate it slightly less in a weird way.
Okay.
And it wasn't completely original. And I don't want to say what that is because I don't want to give it away.
Right.
But this movie is really good. There are pacing issues in the last, 45 minutes, hour, that kind of weigh it down, but I'd give this a solid 9.
Okay.
And this is Kurosawa's best film, and it's his last one, I think. It came out in 85, and he has a lot of old stuff.
Yeah.
This is in color. It has one of my favorite actors, probably my favorite foreign actor. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to.
Okay,
he's
fair.
Japanese, and he's old in this movie, and he plays the old character who's the main character. He's the father emperor who wants to pass on his kingdom to his sons and dividing those amongst them and dealing with the diplomacy of that. The action scenes, the big wide scale battles, are extremely ambitious and impressive for the time and really epic and awesome. There's so many people on the screen. There's all sorts of things happening. The themes are very deep and rich, very engaging. Characters are excellent. Acting's excellent. Yeah.
Wow.
The end. There's really powerful things about family and ambition and betrayal and all sorts of things. This is just an excellent movie.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that was on Joe's list. Run, R-U-N?
R-A-N.
R-A-N. Ran. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, it's above Clockwork Orange and The Revenant.
I know, this is bold now.
This is really good movie.
Now we're getting
Now
up
we're not
there.
messing around.
No,
right?
this is not Knives Out hour. This is top. I love Knives Out, but
number 30, Goodfellas.
oh, I figured that would be somewhere on your list.
I actually think this movie's overrated.
So scores. Well, I mean, look, it's hard to live up to. This is the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah. So, I think this movie's an 8.5, maybe a 9. If
Okay.
I'm generous. I think it actually has some issues, but it's great.
Personal list.
It's one of the most rewatchable movies to me.
Yeah, so I saw this for the second time only recently. First time was literally 30 years ago when it first came out on video. And it's a great movie.
Yeah. It takes kind of The Godfather 40s, 50s and just elevates it up to the 70s or whatever. And really gets that fast and loose lifestyle. We have power. We're bosses. We get whatever we want. We can take advantage of it. And it's just it's such a guy movie, honestly.
It really is.
It's just power.
It really
and,
is.
And Robert De Niro's
One
in
of the
it.
classic
Joe
guy
Pesci,
movies.
I love.
Pesci won the Oscar.
Totally
for supporting,
yeah.
And obviously, the guy that just died, Ray Liotta, is amazing.
I love his wife in it, who plays...
yes, from The Sopranos, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Sopranos characters.
Well, I mean, look, there's only so many Italian actors to go around, I guess.
The spider guy is
they make
Christopher
the rounds.
Moltisanti.
Right.
And there's the Phil Leotardo also.
Yeah, very young Christopher Moltisanti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just a really fun movie, and There's a short
Well,
list. I actually made
an
a.
intense movie.
It's intense, but it's like just it's good to. I don't know.
Makes you feel
It's
good.
fun to watch. Yeah, it's kind of
this is what makes you feel good to rewatch.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I'm angry, if I watch like some mafia stuff, I feel better.
Oh gosh.
Which I don't know if that's the most healthy thing, but I'm just like,
I don't either.
I'm just like, that's right, and I just feel good.
Yeah, okay.
This is kind of like Wolf of Wall Street in a sense, a little bit. It's
a little bit.
It's not as fun, but it's more like serious and rich. I guess it's more rewatchable to me. There's a short list that I made of like 7 or so movies that I can, if anybody ever wants to watch it, I'm down instantly.
Wow, okay.
And this is one of those movies. I'm always down to rewatch Goodfellas.
Yeah.
If I saw it yesterday and you want to watch it today, I'll watch it again. It's just I just really,
that would be a good list.
I really enjoy watching Goodfellas. Okay. The next one was really close with this, and another Scorsese.
So this is now, I think, the 4th Scorsese.
Yes.
I remember we just talked a lot about it, but we had Casino. Obviously, we just had Goodfellas.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street, that's right.
And it's, let me guess?
Taxi Driver?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Jodie Foster.
No, there's the other Jodie
Yeah,
Foster.
Jodie
Okay.
Foster.
You're right.
This is
Darn
her,
it, I was wrong.
This is her, the
I
beginning
forgot she
of
was
her
in it.
career.
Yeah. I've seen this.
Oh,
That's a good one. One of the few big 70s movies I
Robert
watched.
De Niro in this movie.
Yeah. Talk about quotable.
Yes.
I mean, this gives us really the archetype for De Niro's entire career.
Yeah. People think Joker's a great movie in 2019. It's just worse. It's Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, which Scorsese already made. It's those two movies combined, but worse.
People that watch my channel know how much I hate Joker. I gave it like a B or something because I like the performance from Joaquin Phoenix, but it's such a blatant ripoff of Taxi Driver that that it angers me.
Yeah. I mean,
it's honestly a bad movie.
I don't think it's a bad movie, but I think it's like a 6.5.
It's just so derivative.
It's a 6 or 6.5.
Yeah.
But Taxi Driver's awesome.
Taxi Driver, amazing.
There's a really good story with this about Scorsese. It's a rumor, like one of those stories that he was going to kill the editor, shoot him because he was going to rate the movie rated X, and he wanted Scorsese to cut stuff out of it, and he viewed this as like his ultimate crown jewel masterpiece, and he was going to kill the guy instead of edit his movie because he felt like and instead
I'll have to look into that. I have never heard that before.
He like the legend goes that he just lowered the saturation of the blood in the most bloody scene, and then they just slapped it with an R.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but I believe it. He was
awake all night with a gun, and rumor has it that like Steven Spielberg and like Brian De Palma, yeah, they were like trying to talk him out of it. He was drunk with a gun, debating on going and killing this guy.
Okay, good behind the scenes.
But yeah, Taxi Driver is really relatable to me. That's why I put it above Goodfellas.
Okay,
it's another movie that's on that short list. I'm always down to watch Taxi Driver. Blade Runner.
You like
Blade Runner also.
You like some movies about some psycho characters, like really crazy in the head. We've had quite a few just in the past few here. Fight Club.
But I really empathize with the main character in this. He's a Vietnam veteran that's just back in the world trying to make his way. He's all alone. He doesn't really have family. He finds this girl. He really likes her. He makes a really bonehead move on a date, and she just like completely shuts him down. He's like in love with this woman, and I kind of empathize with that. Honestly, like that's happened to me. Not to like the extent that he messed up, of course, but like, that kind of happens with guys. I feel like because women kind of have their pick of the litter a lot of the time.
Sometimes, yeah.
So. Yeah, I empathize with that point. I empathize with the loneliness he feels. I empathize with, or I guess relate to is a better way of saying it. I relate to these things and him wanting to lash out against society, him wanting to refine himself. He starts getting healthy and working out and getting a gun and like creating these devices, and he's like going to do something. He just wants to do something to change this cesspool world, this machine of society, and he just wants to do something to break out of that shell, and I totally get that. And It's also just entertaining. Jodie Foster's pretty good in it.
She's pretty great, I would say.
Yeah, she's really young, and
Yeah.
the sport character who's like the pimp, he hit Harvey something.
Harvey Keitel?
Yes,
Yeah.
he plays him, and he does a really good job.
Yeah, he's classic mob guy too. He
Yes,
shows up a lot.
yeah, he does. But yeah, I love Taxi Driver.
Okay,
It's
love
a
that.
timeless one, and I also love the cover art of this one. I might get a poster of
Let's
this.
Okay.
This one,
Yeah.
I also love the Jaws one. I should have mentioned that earlier. Like Jaws, but
Oh,
everybody
yeah,
knows what that looks
everybody
like.
knows what
But
that
this
looks
one
like.
and Jaws are
Okay.
I might get like a poster.
Two of your
I
favorites.
feel like I need a movie poster. Okay, number 28, we have The Godfather Part 2.
Ooh, okay. Here's another great debate. Which one's better, one or two? I sense one's going to be higher up on the list. For me, one is the clear winner. But I know a lot of people go back and forth
Yeah,
with this one. Another De Niro. I think De Niro might be on your list more than anybody.
my favorite actor.
You did say he's your favorite actor earlier.
My favorite performance from him is Taxi Driver, though.
Okay, that makes sense.
But
Yeah.
yes, The Godfather Part 2. I think it's really cool seeing
Sort of the
Vito,
origins.
seeing
Yeah.
Vito's origin. The Michael thing, he really, it sets him up in 1, but he really comes into his own in 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ending's really great, really powerful. Man, I just think about that scene visually in the ending.
At the end,
portion.
yeah.
I think the weakness of 2 and the reason why some people don't like it as much, I think the main reason why there's conflict over that is it's pretty hard to follow exactly what's going on and why it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's the indictments.
I agree.
There's a betrayal that somebody attacked his house with machine guns. There's this guy in Florida, I forget his name right now, and he's trying to make a deal with him. He's trying to get out of the mafia and create a legitimate business. But understanding the nuances in the different strategy and the dialogue and what they're really into, it's kind of like Game of Thrones-esque a little bit.
Okay.
There's hidden people are doing these things or making people try to make people think different things. And I think if you're not aware of that, which I'm mostly not aware, and don't fully grasp the motivations and purposes and why everything's happening, then you're not going to appreciate it. But then the people that do really appreciate that, and they probably like it more. So that's really the thing. But I obviously love The Godfather 1 and 2.
Yeah. First time watches for me this year. I watched 1 with you, and
Thank
then
goodness
2,
you've seen them now.
2 with Joe. Yeah, I mean that was on the list for this year because of the anniversary, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So love Godfather 2. It's another Jobe household classic. My uncle Josue introduced us to it, and
oh, nice.
yeah, and I just love modern.
And I think that's another the Godfather series is another sort of guy movie. You don't hear many women gushing about how great The Godfather is. It's it's one of the most classic men movies, that and Goodfellas, and probably you could throw Fight Club in there. Yeah.
All right, number 27, Prisoners.
Oh,
Have you seen this?
this is Hugh Jackman. Yes, of course. I saw this in theaters and a couple times since.
This is the
so
Hugh
this is
Jackman.
your Hugh Jackman that you were talking
yeah.
about. I was trying to think of what
He is awesome
what you could have
in
meant.
this. Jake Gyllenhaal's awesome in this. This is there's a type of movie that's gritty crime dramas, and that's actually one of my favorite subgenres, I guess you could say, Mare of Easttown.
Oh,
Seven,
Mare of Easttown was great.
Yeah, Seven, Silence of the Lambs.
You know,
this
and-
is my absolute favorite one.
For me, that is a genre that I get behind. I don't love a lot of overly violent things or whatever, but psychological thriller, I'm in there. And yeah, I think this is done brilliantly. This is one of my favorite directors working, Denis Villeneuve, who did Dune, the new Dune. He did
Love him.
what's the other one? He did Arrival, which was amazing. I know you said you didn't love the first Sicario, but he did Sicario.
Blade Runner 2049.
And Blade Runner
is
2049.
great.
I think he is one of the top directors for sure right
Yes.
now. Yeah, this was a great mystery, suspense. Are the cops gonna find this guy?
Yeah, and who's the bad guy? Paul Dano is amazing.
Paul Dano. Yeah, if you only know him from the Batman, which he was pretty good
Or
as the
There Will
Riddler,
Be Blood.
but
He's even better in that.
oh, he's in There Will Be Blood. That's right.
Oh my god.
Which I've never seen, but I knew he was in it.
He's unbelievably good.
Okay. I think he's a great actor.
Yes.
He's been in a few independent movies you probably haven't seen, but he played a young Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys in this movie called Love and Mercy. He's never given a bad performance. He was great in Little Miss Sunshine. He had like a minor role in that. Yeah.
Great side character. Great actor that plays side characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is my favorite Hugh Jackman performance. Favorite
Yeah,
Jake
good
Gyllenhaal
pick.
performance.
Good pick.
The ending is really good. The
ending's
tension is the empathy, like the moral quandaries that take place. There's so much symbolism in this movie.
Yeah,
too.
I was gonna say the utilization of like the maze as a visual.
The maze is
a component.
There's so many meanings to prisoners.
Yeah.
Throughout, and what it could mean in so many different contexts, plot wise, symbol wise, thematically. It's just like, it's so
what a
good.
pick.
Love this movie.
Yeah.
I wish people would talk about that. I can never pronounce his name.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish people would talk
People don't
about
talk about him because they can't pronounce it.
I wish people would talk about this movie of his.
Yeah.
Because I think this is clearly one of at least top 5 at very minimum.
Mm-hmm.
But
Arrival is great too.
But Arrival's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a really good one. That's a good pick. Prisoners.
Narrowly didn't make the list. Next one is the same director.
Oh.
And my actual favorite from him.
Okay, so let's see. I know you're a huge Dune fan. Is it Dune?
No.
Okay.
Quickly guess though.
Is it is it well, you said Arrival didn't make your list.
No, it's not Arrival, not Sicario.
It's not Enemy. You probably don't know what that
Nope.
is. Okay, what is it? What else did he do?
Incendies.
Oh, that's I think the one of his I haven't seen. Who's in that? Did I watch that?
I don't think
that's like one of his older ones, right?
Yes,
that's before.
This is from 2010.
Okay.
I don't think
I watched it.
I don't think anyone in this movie is really that famous.
Okay.
This is his best movie.
Really?
Recently, I
haven't
bumped this
seen.
down. This for forever was in my teens.
Okay, I gotta watch this.
This is in the IMDb top like 80.
Is it?
So.
Okay.
It blows my mind that this movie's not more famous. This is his best movie.
Wow. Big words, because I love hitting
I can say confidently, this is better than Prisoners.
Okay.
This is
better by one.
Yeah. But I like it slightly more, but it is better.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
This is like a solid 9 movie for sure.
Okay.
This is a great movie. I don't really want to say much about it other than...
Okay. What genre is it? Is it sci-fi again?
No, it's a grounded drama that mostly takes place in the Middle East.
Really?
And I think they speak French Canadian in it. I'm not 100% about that, but it's basically...
But that makes sense because I think that's what he is.
The loose premise, which you find out in the first few minutes, is just that a mother has passed away and her 2 children are inheriting her will, and for some reason or another, I forget why, they need to go to where she grew up and discover the secrets of her life to inherit her will.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
And how that unfolds is just brilliant.
Cool.
Really thematically powerful.
All right, well, there's another one for me to definitely watch.
Yeah. It was on Netflix for a long time. I don't know if it still is.
Okay.
Number 25.
Ooh, top 25 now. Now we're getting the biggies.
Another one that used to be my top 10 for a long time.
Okay.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Another Harvey Keitel, by the way. He has a minor role in this.
Yep.
Pulp Fiction.
What can be said?
What can be said? I saw it in theaters, 94. Didn't know what the hell I was watching. I thought about it for like a week constantly afterwards. I was like, that movie was so weird and so good, and I never seen anything like it in my life. This one very narrowly missed my top 50.
Yeah,
it's such a good movie, such a classic.
I also think this is a 10 out of 10, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, well, and think about just the trend-setting pace of the next literally 15, 20 years of action movies, of storytelling, of...
This movie is funny, it's exciting, it's intense, it's it's chill, it's clever, it's just...
It's unlike anything really that came before. That's just the truth.
easily my favorite performance from Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah,
and,
he's
John Travolta.
so good at it. Travolta's great in
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I have to think it's probably my favorite for both as well.
And my favorite Tarantino movie. For a long time, until probably like a few weeks ago, he's actually my favorite director. And it's kind of weird that there's not as many on here of his.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've just come down on a lot of his other movies slowly over time. I really like
Yeah.
Jackie Brown and Reservoir Dogs and True Romance, which he wrote. He didn't direct, but I really like that one.
That is
too.
a great movie. Yeah, he wrote it.
Underrated.
Yeah.
And Kill Bill I like and all that, but this is clearly the one in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I think this was the amazing movie that just should have won Best Picture. I know Forrest Gump. And Shawshank. I know you, and I think Shawshank's probably still to come. But for me in '94, a Pulp Fiction it set the bar so high.
I think it's objectively better than those other two.
Okay,
But
yeah.
It's totally
On a personal
reasonable.
favorites, not so much.
I think
but
you
yeah,
just shuffle them however. Like,
yeah.
they're all
I
great
mean,
or whatever.
yeah,
but
'94 was such a good year.
That's
for
just
movies.
my take.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Number 24. This is gonna surprise you.
Okay.
Actually, I don't think it will.
I've had some surprises so far.
The Dark Knight
Oh, that does. You love Christopher Nolan. That surprises me not at all.
Rises.
Oh yeah, you love Rises. That was a good.
Okay.
That was a good fake out there.
The Dark Knight is overrated
Yeah.
because
Joker though, great.
Here's the thing with. Let me just talk about the Dark Knight.
Yeah. Talk
So
about
the
it
Dark
all.
Knight.
Talk about all of it.
Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker,
Top
one of the
tier,
greatest
yeah.
of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly,
Yeah.
Joker, probably the best villain character in a film ever. But
Up there.
that's The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I watched it recently. You would be shocked at the number of plot holes.
Well, and look,
There's like a million things that don't make sense and cannot be explained.
and we're not here to bust people's chops on their list. I think the case could be made for most of Christopher Nolan's movies in that way. Every time I rewatch one of his movies, I'm like, well, it doesn't make any, like Interstellar. Like I loved Interstellar when I first saw it, and then I was like, well, wait, that doesn't add up, And Dark Knight Rises is good. I just hate that you can't understand whatever Bane is saying. I think Christian Bale's a lousy Batman because he talks like there's elements about it that I don't like, but I want to hear why you love it.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, in comparison to The Dark Knight, there is one thing in this movie that is like unexplainable, and it's very minor.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to there's like literally 20 things that are just completely unexplainable that just is impossible. I like Batman in this movie.
Okay.
Batman in The Dark Knight, I don't even care about him.
I don't either.
I just want the Joker to succeed. That's all I care about.
I know, I
wanna
did
see,
too.
I want to see the Joker do his thing.
Yeah.
In this one,
I wanted Gotham
care
destroyed.
about Batman.
Okay.
I love Alfred in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Michael Caine is so good as Alfred
So
in
good
all
as
of
Alfred
the
in
movies.
this
Yeah,
one.
for sure.
Gosh.
And I'm a huge Joseph Gordon-Levitt fan, so of course I love that they added him.
Yeah, and the last. I'm gonna spoil this.
I
movie.
think you can spoil.
I'm
it
gonna
a
give
little bit.
spoilers
It's
for
about
The
10
Dark
years
Knight
old.
Rises.
It's all right.
Skip this one if you don't like that. Okay. In the end,
Yeah.
when it's like right before it says The Dark Knight Rises, it's
Yeah.
him rising in the cave. The symbolism there. He becomes Robin.
Right.
That's really
We know.
cool. Passing on the legacy. Passing
I
on the
wish
torch.
they did something with that.
Eh,
I would have liked a Robin movie.
I like that it's 3. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't need Toy Story 4.
All right,
Okay.
that's fair, I guess.
I like things not being forced to
All right.
the cash grab.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, him in the cafe when Alfred sees him.
Yes, that's great.
Oh,
That's great.
hits me.
Yeah.
I think Bane is a really good villain.
I do too.
He's not the Joker, but he's very strong
Mm-hmm.
and intelligent and menacing and all that. His motivations make sense. Everything really makes sense in the movie. This is a clean movie, actually. It doesn't seem like it because it's pretty fantastical,
Mhm.
but if you really break it down, this stuff makes sense in this movie, like almost the whole time. There's a really interesting twist towards the end with Talia al Ghul and Bane and how they're related. And that's another thing that I really love about this. Regarding sequels, I love it when things tie in previous movies and contribute to the overall narrative. So, like, The Dark Knight doesn't reference Batman Begins at all, basically.
Right.
The Dark Knight Rises...
Oh, yeah, it's a completely standalone movie.
Yes. The Dark Knight Rises is truly a sequel to Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. It is the culmination. It is the Spider-Man No Way Home.
Right.
And it just is so satisfying. I've seen this recently. This at one point was really high on my list back in the day, and I needed to rewatch it, and it exceeded my memory of it. It is like, I remember when I finished this. We watched The Dark Knight and this back-to-back nights.
Wow.
It's a joke how much better this is.
Okay.
And it's kind of annoying to me, like, that people think that
everyone loves The Dark Knight.
Yeah, which it has.
They really love the Joker. We know. Like,
there are a lot of
they're
really
saying
great
we love the
scenes
Joker
in The Dark Knight, but it shouldn't be taken seriously as a narrative. It's just really awesome. It's a really
that's
it's
what
a
Two-Face is in too, right?
Yeah, it's a really
I like the Two-Face stuff.
Yeah, how he blames Gordon instead of the Joker for killing.
Well, that was stupid.
It's stupid. He's just like, oh, you should have known your cops better.
Yeah, it was dumb.
And so he just so stupid. But yeah, that's a really great action movie. This is like a serious drama about Batman. I've grown up with Batman, like what I said with Spider-Man. I watched like the animated series a lot as a kid. I watched all of Batman Beyond. I've watched a lot of the like animated movies. My dad loves Batman. We've grown up with Batman our whole life. This is my favorite Batman story. The Dark Knight Rises.
Wow.
It's really really long. It's like
very
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, Nolan again.
But it justifies its length completely. All this stuff is necessary. The Catwoman stuff with Anne Hathaway, the stuff with the mob, the stuff with Bane, getting the money, and like doing all these things. There's a lot here, but I think if you really are patient with it and really, you need subtitles.
Yeah, that was the problem. The first time I watched this, it was in a theater, and you don't have subtitles, and I was like, I don't understand what's going on. But I rewatched it on video, and then I put the subbies on.
Bane, like, taking control of the city and that thing. Now, a lot of people don't like that, which I think is fair. But the last portion when the city's isolated. But I think it's a really bold, creative choice, and I think it was executed really well, and it made a lot of sense. And
I will say this is a movie that, like you said, is very long, but it's not one that I have an issue with the length. I do think that it utilizes its time well. Yeah.
And it's another one of those examples of a movie where everybody's smart, which I like. I'm never.
Which
just,
they should be in a Batman movie. Like,
yeah, I'm never just like, oh, this person didn't do this. Like,
right.
The villains don't make dumb decisions. In this. They are making optimal decisions, and man, it's so well written.
I think that's a problem more that Marvel movies tend to have than DC movies. People in Marvel movies are just dumb a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Okay, very good.
Number 23. This movie blew my mind open.
Ooh,
okay. This makes me want to make my own thing.
Okay.
Fantastic Planet.
Oh.
And let me tell you what this movie is.
I don't even know what it is.
This is the first animated movie that was ever rated PG. That not rated G. Okay? This is from 1973, and this is a French film.
Oh, okay.
This movie is 72 minutes long.
Love a good short film.
And I have a little thing written like as good as it gets
let's
about
hear
this
it. I want to hear about Fantastic. I don't know anything about this movie.
This film was love at first sight for me. I found myself invested within the first 5 seconds of the film. Wow. I just have some random points. Extremely imaginative, profoundly thought-provoking, gorgeous storybook animation style, incredibly bold and creative score that really works and adds to the atmosphere, great sound effects, captivating world building, very unpredictable. There's a belief that anything can happen at any moment that lends itself to a constant state of mild tension. Excels in visual storytelling. That's another thing that is a rarity in films that takes place a little bit more frequently in other mediums that I appreciate, when things are shown, not told. Yeah. There's a manga named Blame that I really like because it's mainly just showing you pictures and you're like kind of piecing, okay, so this is kind of how this works.
Interesting.
And this does that. It's not a kid's movie, highly respects the intelligence of its audience. Doesn't overstay its welcome. It's only 72 minutes, and it's a one-of-a-kind experience. There's no other movie like this that I've seen. This is a Criterion movie. This
Okay.
is one of the...
That doesn't surprise me.
There's only, I think, 5 or less animated Criterions. And This is one of them.
Okay.
And for good reason. Yeah, this movie, when I watched it, I was jealous that I did not make it. I'm just like, man, I wish I had made this thing.
It was made 20 years before you existed.
I know, but like, man, I just freaking love this movie.
Was this an IMDb special? How did you discover this? I never heard of it.
I discovered it just because it was a Criterion animated movie.
Oh, and that intrigued you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the cover is really intriguing also.
He looks like one of those like mer people from
Yep.
Is he a mer person?
No.
Because that's what he looks like. They're kind of an
there's
alien,
There's
too.
a moment in this also that really disturbed me, but I don't think anybody else would find it disturbing.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Like, it's a very interesting movie. I've never seen anything like it, even remotely similar.
Wow.
I love
Okay.
it. I'm gonna have to get the Criterion.
Hot tip. Yeah.
All right. Next movie.
22?
Number 22.
Wow.
I also would give this movie a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Y tu mamá también.
Oh, people love this movie. I've not seen it.
It is...
This is, I feel like, what, early 2000s maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
2001.
Okay.
This tackles the theme of sex and sexuality better than any movie I've
Ooh, okay. A good topic.
I'm sure all of you care about.
Yes, I
That's
care
a
about
theme
it
that
deeply.
basically everybody cares about.
I care about it deeply, and I see it done poorly very often in movies. This is French? I guess
Spanish.
Spanish, yeah,
Mexican,
for the title.
I believe.
Mexican, okay.
Some of the
I've always heard of this movie.
The actors you'll recognize.
Okay.
Well, they're a lot younger, of course. It's 2 boys and a woman.
Okay.
And one of the boys is the main actor in the new Star Wars series Andor. That's
okay.
one of the boys. But he's just a boy at the time.
Yeah, he's just a kid.
But yeah, I mean, this is a really sexually explicit movie.
Okay.
So caution for that.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's all with purpose. It's not overdone.
Okay.
And it's just really unexpectedly poignant in various ways about friendship and sexuality and things like that, and discovering your own identity. And it's just, again, like, I heard good things about this, but it just like took me off guard. And after I finished, I'm just like, that's a 10.
Damn.
That's a golden solid 10 out of 10.
Okay.
So,
one of the less than 15 10 out of 10s.
Yes.
Okay. I've always heard of that movie, and I really didn't know anything about it.
Next up.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
If you're smiling at me, it must be the movie nobody would expect on anyone's list.
Yes, it's that.
PA3.
Yes, Paranormal Activity 3. I will die on the hill that this movie is great.
And this is what makes this a very personal list.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my favorite horror film of all time.
Which is crazy.
Because
you love horror. You've seen so many. You've seen a million of them. You know, you love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was on the list. The Romero movie. The
Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead.
I've seen some.
And now Paranormal 3.
I've never heard anyone outside of you, me, and Skate say anything positive about this.
Well, we saw it together.
Yes, the 3 of us saw this together in a movie theater.
Yeah.
And this is the most memorable viewing of a movie
I was
I've
horrified
ever
at this movie.
This is the most
I was like clutching your arm.
Yeah.
I was so scared.
Most memorable experience watching a movie. We're in this movie. Ever.
Not just horror. Ever.
Any movie, this is the most memorable experience as I saw it. I was afraid. I had to grip the armchair. And I was afraid that I would like claw off my skin. I was just. I've never felt this. It's like I had to hold my mouth shut so I didn't want to bite my tongue. It's like insane.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, this is like the Alien effect, like cranked up to 11. Because I've seen this a second time in college with a couple friends, and they weren't taking it super seriously, and it was a joke. It wasn't scary at all. But if you're into this, you do need to watch the first one, which is a good movie, I guess. The second one's like not good, but I think it's kind of necessary because this is a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really worth it if you get invested. Don't watch after this one; the rest suck.
Yeah, the rest are bad.
But
I think we saw the next one in theaters too.
Yeah, it was
the marked ones.
Yeah, it was a joke.
It was bad.
But my goodness, this movie knows how to handle tension.
Oh yeah,
and delivers on that tension.
Well, and what
I don't want to say how, but it delivers.
But what I think is also interesting about this movie, that I don't think it gets enough credit for is, we had the first one with the video camera at night. The way they actually handled like new ways to utilize that tool, I thought was very clever, and I think it added to the tension.
Yeah, I think you can make an argument that this is a 10, which sounds ludicrous.
Listen, I gave it an A.
This is like a 5.8 on IMDb or something.
Yeah, it's not.
No one thinks this movie is special, but I'm telling you,
I love that this is on your list.
I don't think it's a fluke that all three of us, not talking to each other during the movie, had the same experience of being absolutely petrified.
Yeah.
This movie affected me deeply. I was in high school, and at that point, I was not scared of anything. I was going around the country riding the most scary roller coasters. I was Googling the most disturbing, scary things possible in the universe. Nothing fazed me. This movie destroyed me.
It really did.
It's like...
Yeah, with me it's expected because I'm always afraid of movies. But yeah, for you to have that reaction is rare.
Yeah.
Unheard of, really.
Unheard of, yes.
Yeah.
It's never happened since. 2011.
Yeah, I love that I was a part of that.
I think it was 2011.
That sounds right. 2011. That sounds right, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Love it.
Number 20, Rocky.
I was wondering if you were going to put any Rocky on your list. This is another one I feel like people sort of go back and forth. Is one better or two better? For me, one is just far and away the better film. But people love two as well, and that's fine.
So, real quick trivia: number 102, 3, and 4 are Rocky. 4, 2, and 3.
Is that right?
I love the first four.
Four is funny.
4, 2, and 3 in that order.
Okay. But one is the clear winner.
Well, here's why. I do think one is just clearly the best movie.
Yeah, another Best Picture winner, by the way.
I do really like 2. Critically, I think it is somewhat comparable, but I definitely think one is definitely better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the argument could be made, but for me personally, it's one.
So here's why this is just light years ahead of the others. And it's because I credit this for the inspiration for me. I've always loved fighting and whatever. But this movie, I saw when I was 7 years old. My mom rented it from Hollywood Video to show me and my brother. And I was inspired to want to do boxing. And I started, we bought a punching bag for me.
Oh,
we got a speed bag for me.
You're gonna
and
be
I was
a boxer.
training. Yes. And I kind of still want to do that before I get too old. Just to fight in one fight.
Okay.
But anyway,
Fair.
I've always loved boxing since, and fighting. Muhammad Ali is one of my favorite public figures.
Great guy.
Yep. Man, so I credit it with that inspiration because I never felt the feeling of inspiration prior to this movie in my life. I don't think this is the first time I was like, I feel inspired. Like, what is this feeling?
Yeah.
Really impactful for little Justin.
I love that.
And it's also just a great movie. And Sylvester Stallone, even though he's not good in anything but Rambo and Rocky, he really nails it when he was back in...
Remember when we saw Expendables 2?
Yeah.
Or 3 or whatever it was.
Expendables 2 is
it was Expendables 2.
Yeah,
so bad.
One of the worst movies I've seen.
It's so terrible. But see, that's what's funny to me, that by the time I was growing up watching movies, it was the mid to late 80s, and Sylvester Stallone was kind of a joke. And then in the early 90s he did Cliffhanger and all those really heavy action movies. And I didn't see Rocky until, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. And I saw it and was just how did anyone watch this movie and ever think Sylvester Stallone was a joke? I mean, he wrote the movie. He stars in the movie. I mean, it is such an amazing...
Are you familiar with how... For those that don't know...
Tell me.
Sylvester Stallone was a homeless man.
Oh, yeah.
When he wrote the script for this movie, and was going to sell the script to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and they offered him a bunch of money for the script, but he wouldn't play Rocky in it, and he wanted
he
to
said,
be an
"No,
actor.
I have
he
to
said,
play it."
"No, I have
Yeah.
to play Rocky." And they offered him more, and like $100,000 at one point in the 70s,
Yeah.
and he turned it down. So he took the deal for $5,000 and to play the Rocky.
Right.
And he nailed it.
Nailed it.
It won Best Picture.
Yep.
And he had to sell his dog, who was his like closest companion in life, in order to get by, and rebought him once he made a bunch of money from the movie. And
for my money, he should have won Best Supporting Actor in Creed. You've seen Creed?
I haven't.
Oh,
I know it's good.
You gotta watch Creed.
I'll watch Creed.
The third one's coming out, so you should watch the first two.
I definitely will.
But to reinvent that character yet again, 30 years later, was just a master stroke.
Yeah. The soundtrack's really good in this movie.
All the soundtracks are good.
Adrian and Paulie and Mick, his trainers.
Yeah.
So good.
Yep.
Tough as nails, and the training montages.
Inspired you.
So inspired.
Yeah. Yeah, all the montages are great.
The montages are great. And just, it's like, it's a very good movie up until the ending portion where it's like, he's a bum off the street. He's really trying to make his way. It's inspirational, all this. But then it takes it further, because on the evening of his fight with Apollo Creed, he's laying in bed and he can't sleep. And he goes to the arena, which is shown in a lot of other parodies or whatever. And he realizes he can't win.
Mm-hmm.
And he just wants to go the distance and prove that he's not just a bum off the street.
Mm-hmm. Who
Sylvester Stallone himself just was.
Life imitating the art again.
It's like, and it doesn't even feel like he's acting when he's like talking about that stuff. It's so like I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's so inspirational. It's such a beautiful story. And man.
I figured that was going to be on your list somewhere.
What an awesome movie.
Good
and
movie.
I'll tell you, 76 is another stacked year. Network is great.
Mm-hmm.
Taxi Driver is great. All the President's Men is really great.
I've seen that one. That was,
and
that's
Rocky
great.
won Best Picture. I don't even know if that should have happened.
I know.
But I'm really happy it did.
I'm surprised.
I'm really happy it
did. Yeah. Same.
So yeah,
all the President's Men's great too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 19. Star Wars. The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay. So this is number
19.
Well, 5 technically, or no, but I mean in the Star Wars canon. This is episode 5.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. Mm-hmm. The second one that came
out. And number 18
theatrically
is Return of the Jedi.
Oh, so let's talk about them both.
I'll talk about them both.
Let's talk about them both. Now we had, for those of you that didn't watch the first half, we had Star Wars at something or other, number 50 or 60 something, right?
It was 74.
New Hope.
Yeah, 74.
Okay.
Or something like that.
So, towards the lower reaches, but it was on there.
And I mentioned in the previous video that the Star Wars movies, I'm pretty sure, are the first live action films I've ever seen in my life. I watched them, I believe.
And that makes sense.
People don't even believe me when I tell them that I can remember back that far, but I genuinely
remember some things when I was 2.
For some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are the first movies I've seen. And so they're kind of the most classic for me.
Right.
They're just they're the movies.
They built the archetype for
what movies are for me.
For every sci-fi movie that came in the next 25, 30 years.
So just to be clear, I do think Empire Strikes Back is a better movie than Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
From a critical objective standpoint.
Okay.
It's not by a lot. I think people sell Return of the Jedi a little bit short just because the Ewoks are kind of cutesy.
I love the Ewoks. And, I do.
Emperor Palpatine sending his most elite soldiers just getting completely worked by the Ewoks' little coconuts and tree whatever, and them not doing anything. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But here's the thing. Here's why I love Empire Strikes Back. Star Wars, so you have the original Star Wars.
Right.
That takes place on Tatooine and the Death Star.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit on, like, the Rebel base or whatever.
Okay.
But that's not really like, you're not getting the war. It's kind of like the Fellowship of the Ring vibe with Two Towers. That's kind of like Two Towers where it's like, okay, we're just in this. Empire Strikes Back is like the Fellowship of the Ring where it's like, we're seeing the fantastical things.
Mm-hmm.
In Empire Strikes Back, we go to Hoth, the snow planet. We get to go to Dagobah, the swamp planet. We get to go to Cloud City.
You see everything.
Yes, you see everything.
Yeah.
You get to be in like the Astra where like there's this giant monster inside. You get to introduce to Boba Fett, who is other than Darth Vader, my second favorite Star Wars character.
Wow.
I read like all of his chapter books, which
cool.
I don't like, or at least I used to not like reading when I was younger for
Yeah.
like most of my life. Only in the past few years have I started to like reading. But I read his chapter books, which I like the Boba Fett series, but only because of that. I don't think it's good. I just like it because it's payoff for stuff that I know.
Yeah.
So I would never recommend it really to anybody else. But anyway, it introduces Boba Fett, who's really awesome. I think the lightsaber battle with Luke and Vader in Empire Strikes Back is maybe the best lightsaber battle. Like, not in terms of just the lightsaber combat. I think that's Revenge of the Sith with Anakin and Obi-Wan.
With the double. Or is that... No, that's not the Sith.
Yeah,
that's
it's
Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Although, that... but yeah, that fight and that twist, the greatest twist in cinema, I think.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, by the time I saw it, that was well known by everyone.
Are you aware that only James Earl Jones and George Lucas knew?
I think I had heard that, yeah.
Nobody else knew.
Which makes sense because, right, it's all a voiceover, so the actors in the scene wouldn't have had to know, which is so
Lucas
creative.
reacted to something else, and it's like the most well-kept secret.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Empire Strikes Back is just an excellent movie. I like the Han and Leia romance.
Yeah.
I like...
Aren't they brother and sister?
That's Luke and Leia.
Luke and Leia, okay, right.
But Han and Leia...
That was in the first one.
I love
that was
Han.
the romance.
I think Harrison Ford is perfection for that role.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark was close to making my
Harrison Ford is like a true G.
Especially in the 80s.
Especially in the 80s, because, Blade Runner was already on your list.
Yeah.
The Indiana Jones stuff barely made it, and then he's got 3 Star Wars movies there.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
Yeah. So, yeah. The reason why I have Return of the Jedi higher is for the reasons of I like Jabba the Hutt, and I think the beginning with Jabba the Hutt and the Rancor monster is really cool.
Okay.
Luke is finally like a real Jedi. He builds his own lightsaber. You finally see a green lightsaber. You didn't see that in the first 2 movies.
That's true.
And when I was a kid, that green lightsaber was so cool. It's not just red and blue. It's green.
Now it's green.
And Luke is like a boss now.
Yeah.
And he's just like awesome. And the Sarlacc pit that Boba Fett goes in, where he's dead.
I only know half of this stuff. I saw these movies one time like 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
I did.
Also, Emperor Palpatine. That cannot be understated.
Palpatine's cool.
His screen time is very low.
Is
he's
it?
Only in the 3rd movie.
Oh, okay.
He's in a hologram briefly in the 2nd for like a little bit.
Yeah.
So all the impact that he's had is at the end of the 3rd movie.
Mm-hmm.
And his like Force lightning, like, strike me down with all your hatred. And
I didn't know he was so little.
Yeah, he's not in it very
screen
much.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like the Hannibal Lecter effect. Like,
yeah,
that guy deserves more credit.
Yeah, makes an impact.
He nailed that performance.
Okay, love it.
Darth Vader, I think I've stated earlier, is my favorite movie character.
Oh, okay. Villain or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And his character arc, it is the culmination of everything that has in episodes 1 through 6.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you don't care about the prequels, it's still a really rewarding character arc at his conclusion. I also think Return of the Jedi has one of the most satisfying endings ever in movies for me.
Okay.
And I think it just perfectly is like, that's the end. And I'm very happy and satisfied with that. We never need anything else. Which, of course,
we got many
of course, I hate the sequels.
Still to this day.
But
too many.
Man, Return of the Jedi was just so cool. Especially when I was a kid. It was just like, wow. Nothing live action had anything fantastically awesome anywhere close to the level of Return of the Jedi. With Luke and Vader, Luke being at full power, and the Emperor and everything.
Yeah.
The bigger Death Star is just so awesome.
All right. Now, that's probably the last Star Wars. I can't imagine...
yeah, it's the last Star Wars.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, I mean... Attack on the Clones.
Attack on the Clones, Rogue One. Yeah, I thought Rogue One was super boring. All right. So that was what?
I'm really
17...
happy. I'm really happy you said that because I think that movie is pathetic.
Very boring.
So
that was 17 and 18.
I was
Joint.
19 and 18.
I'm sorry, 19 and 18.
Number 17 is Interstellar.
Oh, okay.
favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
Wow, higher than any of the Batmans.
Yes.
Okay.
I think this.
So this is now 1, 2. Is this only 3 for Nolan? Prestige, Dark Knight Rises, and this.
Yeah.
That's 3. Okay.
I think so.
So far, Scorsese is at the lead with 4.
Doesn't surprise me, honestly.
That doesn't surprise me either.
Scorsese's probably my second favorite director.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the sci-fi movie.
Okay.
I think this is the one.
I did love this the first time I saw it.
I think the ending stuff with the black hole is obviously flawed.
Yeah.
But,
a little bit.
But if you... and I'm not excusing that, but I'm just saying...
It's your personal list. It doesn't matter.
If you put that aside... But, I mean, it bothers me.
Yeah, okay.
But, like, if you put that aside for a moment, the rest of the movie's like a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Like, what sci-fi movie... You know they did tons and tons of research and mathematical stuff.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. To make it logical.
Yeah. And so much went into this project. Really well cast. Mm-hmm. This is where I became a Matthew McConaughey.
I was going to say, you've got a lot of McConaughey on your list.
And True Detective Season 1 is one of my favorite things. Like, True Detective Season 1 is a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
And Matthew McConaughey in this and that in combination made me a fan of his overnight. I actually watched them in close proximity to one another. Mm-hmm. And yeah, him, Anne Hathaway are amazing in this. Chastain's amazing in this. Michael Caine's in this too, right? He's in all the Nolan, so I think so. Yeah, he's really good in this too.
Yeah, he might play. He plays McConaughey's father, I think, right?
Or maybe? Chastain's father.
Or Chastain's father.
I think that's right.
Somebody, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but Matt Damon is just like in it.
Oh, that's right.
His character.
People were saying, because it was like a year before The Martian, people were saying like, oh, they're like interconnected, which isn't true, but it's kind of funny.
But this movie's magical because. So I just want you to think about when they first land on that water planet, and they're just like getting out of the pod or whatever, and there's just waves that are just. It's just
the movie looks amazing.
What is that? It's a wave.
Yeah.
That's like that tall, far. It's like, whoa. Like this makes you like.
Yeah.
This is like, big budget, seeing other planets as they could potentially be in our universe and really showing it. That doesn't really exist otherwise outside of this movie. It's always just like Mars or the moon or whatever.
Right.
And it just really, the creativity of that and visually and sound design.
Nolan's sound is always amazing.
Visually.
And visually too,
This movie is like, what movie is better than this visually?
It's incredible.
Which movie?
No, I don't understand.
It's crazy.
That's all I got.
Also, the relativity of the time relativity that has to be mentioned when he's like misses his kids.
Yeah.
And that is like
gut wrenching.
That's real.
That's gut wrenching.
Just making a little miscalculation, and the one guy's just really old. He's like, "Yeah, I've been calculating stuff for like 30 years or whatever." While
oh my god,
man, what a great movie!
I love that.
I really think Interstellar will go down as like one of the all-time great films of history. Like even if 50 years from now or whatever, like people will look back like that's a classic. I ask a lot of random people that aren't that into movies, and this is one of the
people love Interstellar.
This is one of the most common.
They love it.
This may be the most frequent answer I get when I ask people what their favorite movie is.
Really?
It's pretty common.
Yeah.
More than any other, I think. And I'm always just like...
I'm not surprised by that.
Good pick.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Okay. Number 16. I'm kind of sad it's this low. This used to be in my top 5 for a while.
Okay.
Apocalypse Now.
Oh, we briefly mentioned that earlier. Because I thought it was Kubrick. But it's...
Have you seen this one?
I have seen this one because of the Oscar A to Z. We got through halfway through the B's, and so this was one of the ones I saw.
Do you remember the opening scene of this?
Oh, yeah. It's fantastic.
All-timer.
Yeah, it's an all-timer.
All-timer.
It's an all-timer.
Robert Duvall's great in this. Harrison Ford's randomly in this for like 2 seconds.
Oh, that's right.
And Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
He has a towering performance and presence in this movie.
Yeah.
His dialogue is just art. It's just poetry.
Yeah.
It is just amazing.
Another Best Picture winner? At least nominated.
Yes.
I think it might probably won,
I'm
right?
pretty sure.
Yeah.
If not, that's
Coppola. So you've got 3 Coppolas in your top
28.
20. Yeah, I was gonna say top 30 or
Because
something.
Godfather's obviously.
Godfather. We know Godfather's coming up.
But yeah, for a long time, this was my number 4. But
Is that right?
yeah, but I thought about it some more. Like,
Okay.
just because the middle portions.
Yeah,
aren't,
I was gonna say
they
for
are,
pacing, this could maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For you.
I think this movie's really amazing, obviously,
Mhm.
and I really, really love it. But I don't love all of it,
Right.
which is why it's not higher. But the parts that I do love are some of my favorite things in movies.
Okay.
The Marlon Brando,
Love it.
he's not, again, very minimally in the movie.
Yeah, he's really
And the
not
way
in it
they
very much
set
at
him
all.
up, they set it up to be for him to be just like this larger than life. Everything's gonna be crazy,
Mhm.
and it exceeds that.
Right.
I love it when it's like high expectations, and it's like, okay, you better deliver. And it's just like, oh, we're gonna deliver. You better believe it, and they deliver. Yeah.
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 So I guess technically this is the first Coppola movie I ever saw.
Yeah.
Because I saw this, probably 7 or 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And I
Okay.
like war and anti-war themes. That's
Mhm.
a theme that particularly appeals to me, and I think this executes that better than any other film I've seen.
Okay. Yeah, I could say that.
Number 15, a Goofy movie.
I knew Goofy had to be on the list.
Okay.
When I met you, it was literally like Braveheart, Gladiator, probably Apocalypse Now, I guess was in there, but I hadn't seen it yet. And then Goofy movie. It was like, I mean, God level. You love this movie.
I don't think I am more happy watching any other movie than this.
And that makes sense.
I watched now my memory of this is very high.
Okay.
Okay. And I watched this recently with Amalia, and I'm like, is this gonna live up to my memory of it? I really hope it does, because if it doesn't, it's gonna be sad. It exceeded my memory.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Here we go.
This movie is amazing. amazing. Okay. So, okay. Let me just try and like formulate my thoughts.
I wanna
I'm
hear.
so excited to talk about this.
Mhm. I've been waiting all day for this.
This is probably, in my opinion, I think this is the best father-son narrative in movies that I've ever seen.
Okay.
Father-son stuff appeals to me.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I have a father.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to be a father. I've been excited to be a father since I was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a good father, and what's interesting is the stuff between Goofy and Max. When you're a kid, you're like, oh yeah, what the heck is Goofy? You're siding with Max.
Sure.
And the older you get, the more you start to side with Goofy.
Right.
And then, like, I'm kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is not a clear-cut thing. This is a really real-life type of thing. It's all gray.
Mm-hmm.
Who's right?
Right.
Overall. They're both right and wrong in different ways, and that's how life is. There's one scene that's like, whatever, in the like, possum place, that's
okay.
whatever. But everything else, amazing in this. They, like, find Bigfoot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack, oh my goodness, is that good in this. Oh my gosh. Eye to Eye at the end,
That's a classic. Did you get goosebumps about it?
I almost like cry out of epicness.
Wow.
It's so awesome. So awesome. And the stuff with Max and Roxanne is really good. And that's like the opener scene. It's kind of the lens you're viewing this through.
Mm-hmm.
The stunt he pulls at the school. Do you remember this? Like where he like
very
dances
vaguely.
and like does the stand out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, and like when school's out in the summer and like that song's really good. On the Open Road and Nobody Else But You.
Yeah, it's classic.
Oh my gosh, the feels, the feels. This movie's criminally underrated. This is like a 6.9 on IMDb.
Is it really?
Yeah.
But I think people that like you were born basically when this movie came out. You were like
95.
Yeah, I mean
Yep.
So this was probably one of the first touchstone movies for you. I feel like people though that are of that age within 2 or 3 years, I feel like this is a strong movie.
Yeah.
Like
yes, I'm nostalgic for this, but I even things that I'm nostalgic for, I try and look at as critically as possible,
right,
and as fairly and everything. And where are the flaws in this movie?
It's a very good movie.
I don't hear, like, where, honestly,
So
everything's great.
It's funny, it's a 6.9. I would have thought it was higher than that.
I think this is unquestionably at least an 8.
Wow.
Like, I would give it a 9,
Yeah.
but I think if somebody's giving it below an 8, they're not being honestly fair.
Okay.
I think they're just being like, well, it's an animated movie.
Yeah. Well, you do get people that...
Yeah.
And listen, no offense to the IMDb system, but, like,
Yeah, yeah.
there's so many
Yeah, yeah.
trolls. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I applaud you for going through the top 250. Like, obviously, the ones that are higher end are gonna be the best of the best. But there's just so many trolls that it's like, oh, any movie with a strong female character too. You know, it's like...
Also, this is not even taking into account that this is the culmination of an animated series, The Goof Troop.
That is true. Yeah.
I didn't see that much, but I did like. We didn't have Toon Disney when I was a kid.
Okay.
But it's probably even better than what I even think it is, given the context of that.
Yeah, I don't really remember it. I watched DuckTales a lot, but I didn't watch Goof Troop.
His one friend with the leaning tower of cheese. He's Bobby.
Classic.
He's really cool.
Yeah.
Pete's a good friend. The part with the scene with the waterbed and the pizza looks so good. I always get so hungry for that.
Yeah.
And keep them under your thumb, Goof. Oh man, I can't think of anything other than that one scene is like whatever, and there's like one song that's not the best. Everything else is like, please try and nitpick. Please, just try and nitpick this movie. Honestly, watch this and try and be harsh on it. I don't think there's much. It's just so good in every way. It's
funny. As you're talking about the music over and over, there's not really any musicals on your list unless they're animated.
Yeah, I don't.
Unless Wizard of Oz is coming up, which now that we're in the top 15, I really doubt it because you don't really like it.
I like it.
Not that you don't like it, but we watched it again and
I like it. I don't love it.
Yeah. So other than that, there's not really. I think there may be one more animated on your list that has a lot of songs in it. But yeah, that is one I would say underrepresented genre on your list.
Sure, it is true. Musicals are not my preference.
Yeah,
I have seen Molly.
Singing in the Rain. Have you seen that one?
Yes,
that's a great one.
That's maybe my favorite.
That's probably gonna make my list next time.
The best dancing I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
Number 14.
We're getting up there
Let me just say real quick, the animated films, people not taking themes seriously just because the movie's animated, I really don't like that.
Yeah.
I think that's just unfair.
I think Pixar kind of changed that game for
but
people,
like people only, I feel like, take things that are Pixar-esque or have the newer Disney animation. Like,
right.
I feel like people don't take the older things, their themes that seriously, even if they're really well executed. I think that's a shame. I think if we're being like really fair, people just write off as like, oh, that's a kid's thing, so it doesn't have adult themes that are applicable to me, and it's like that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that'll apply.
I think we'll hear a little more.
Number 14, Good Will Hunting.
Ooh, I didn't know you liked this one so much.
So this compared to the things it's not nearly as good as the thing that's around.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In terms of, I think this movie's like an 8.5.
Okay.
Maybe.
But for your personal,
this movie is
enjoyment.
Extremely relatable to me.
Yeah.
Extremely relatable to me. This is probably the most relatable movie to me on this list.
Okay. Nobody kills anybody in it.
No, it doesn't need to be violent for me to like it. Nobody kills anybody in Goofy movie.
I know.
But yeah,
you're just saying all the movies you relate to, like Taxi Driver, Goodfellas.
Goofy movie just brings me pure joy.
Fight Club.
Yeah,
This is a great movie.
Yeah, and it has that effect of, I saw it again kind of recently with Skate Guy and even Vector, and they don't.
These are people, by the way. These are our friends.
Yeah,
Skate Guy.
Skate Guy.
He has a real name, but that's what we call him.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What his real name is. And they only really like Fast and the Furious or whatever.
Yeah, they really
they don't
like
have any patience.
action stuff.
And they loved this movie, and my mom loves this movie, and
I don't know anybody that does not love this movie.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I think this is one of the sort of universally sort of beloved movies, and maybe it's because Robin Williams is so powerful and everyone knew him as being so funny, and this was a bit of a turn.
I really like Robin Williams. He's like
he won the
he's
Oscar
not
for
like
it.
top 10 favorite actors, but like probably top 15.
Mhm.
I do really like Robin Williams, and
Yeah.
I think this is his best performance, and I'm so glad he won this Oscar. I think it's his only one.
It is his only one, yeah.
And he so deserves it.
Really
his
did.
performance
Yeah.
was amazing.
I didn't actually see this till he died. When he died, I binged like maybe 8 or 9 movies I had never seen of his before, and this was one of them.
And Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, hats off to them for writing and starring in this.
Yeah.
This is another one of those movies that every scene feels like, oh yeah, this is another classic scene. Oh yeah, I like this scene. I like this scene.
Yeah.
And the themes are really just appeal to me with like the brotherhood of the friends. Kind of mirrors my life a little bit with my really close friends. I view us as like, you know, we would do anything for each other, and we're like brotherhood, like you and I.
Yeah.
You're involved in that group.
Thanks, buddy.
And like, that's really awesome. It's kind of like Sons of Anarchy-esque like vibe in that. The Warriors also has that.
Actually, yeah, that is true.
Like, they're in it together, like ride or die. I love that. The themes of him being a genius and his traumatic stuff with his upbringing and his father specifically, like I just relate to this so deeply, and this movie's really believable.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, it's not believable in the sense that he's such a genius just because. That's the only thing that's not. But what I'm talking about is within the context of the film, how he behaves and how he's unreceptive to help from psychiatry and Robin Williams and everything. That is very believable.
Yeah.
Matt Damon's performance in this is excellent as well.
He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's great. He's just one of those that anytime he's in something, it's just like, okay, that makes it better.
Right. I
Automatically.
agree. Yeah. Big fan.
Oh, man. And the part like towards the end, I just break. I cannot not cry.
The emotional scene of
it's making me tear up right now just like talking about it. It's so heavy to me. And I remember watching it for the first time. I was just like, oh my gosh. I need to take a drink of water. This is so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is such a good movie, and really, the second one in about 10 movies here, because we had Rocky earlier. We're right, the people that wrote it starred in it, and you know, it really kickstarted their careers.
Yeah, love it.
Just like Sylvester Stallone. Yeah,
love this movie. It's very special to me. And Minnie Driver, his girlfriend in it. Shout out to her. She also did a really good job. She was nominated but didn't win.
I love Minnie Driver, by the way.
Because Helen Hunt won.
Helen Hunt won.
But she's I really like her. Okay. And the scene with Ben Affleck that like his like, you know what? Don't even do it for you.
Oh, yeah.
You owe it to us because we would kill to have what you have. We would give anything. And that whole scene is just like,
that speaks to you.
So good. Number 13, Titanic.
Oh, I swear to God, if Titanic wasn't on here, because I know you love it.
10 out of 10.
But this is a 10 out of 10. And I will say, even though it's my number 3 as well, you're number 13, so not as well, but it's on my list too. This is one that I certainly, like many on your list that you've said, there are flaws in this movie. When she throws the thing in the ocean at the end, I hate it.
Yeah.
I want to, scream about that. But yeah, like, I mean, this to me is basically as perfect of a movie as there is.
Yeah, it's absurdly good.
Yeah.
This is also nostalgic for me. I watched this when I was 3 years old.
That's right.
Learned what curse words were for the very first time due to this movie.
Yeah, there's a few.
I said a couple of them in preschool.
Oh my God.
And the teachers are like, where did you learn that word? I'm just like, Titanic.
And they, of course, had all seen it probably multiple times.
I just shrugged and went, Titanic. And I remember them just like dying laughing at me saying that. Just like 3-year-old Justin.
That's fantastic.
Titanic.
I love that.
But yeah, so there's a lot of great things to say about this movie. And this really shows, again, this movie, given its premise, could very easily be a bad movie.
Yeah.
Very easily. If things had just been a little bit different in many ways.
Well, if directed by anyone else.
James Cameron, the master.
You know, if directed by Roland Emmerich or Jerry Bruckheimer or, you know, any of those, like Michael Bay, like, come on. But in James Cameron's hands, you
gotta keep faith in him.
Yeah. I
have doubts about Avatar
Much
too.
I hate Avatar,
but
yeah.
You gotta have faith.
It's probably going to be great.
It's probably going to be great.
Yeah.
All right. But Titanic, you know, this is a movie that's 3 hours and 15 minutes, and you do not feel its length.
No, not for a second.
This is also, yeah, like I said, it's nostalgic to me. I think the production and costumes and makeup and lighting and all the cinematography, the acting, the Kathy Bates' character.
Oh my God, yeah.
Cal is such a hateable guy,
Yeah.
which is really great. There's a lot of classic scenes in this.
Yeah.
A lot of quotable moments. Jack I really like him as a character. I really like the part where the ship is like going, the people are falling. It's very visceral.
Oh my God, yeah.
It shows the different perspectives of the people. Like, I don't care about the Titanic story historically very much, but this makes me care.
Yeah,
and that's impressive. It just puts you in their shoes when you get to see many different perspectives of, like, you know, rich people, the captain,
the classism,
the musicians keep staying true,
right,
you know,
right.
The different people like trying to manage the lifeboats, different people with families and like trying to keep their children and, like, you know, searching for people or not searching for people. I also think this is, from just a romantic perspective, easily my number one favorite romantic story.
Yeah.
In all of fiction. This is my favorite romantic story.
Jack and Rose.
Yes, because
I believe it.
This defined what a love story was, because again, I saw this very, very young.
Right.
And their love is so believable to me. So powerful. I am emotional every time I watch this. It's impossible not to be. I also think telling it from the present is a very risky choice, but worked. It was an effective decision, but very risky, especially given all the greatness that they already had.
Right.
To even like take that gamble I respect.
To use that as a framing device was bold.
That it took to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, when like Jack is like handcuffed to the thing, like the whole water. That's probably my favorite portion is when they're going through the boat when the water is like flooding, and man, you just feel the desperation, and it feels so real. Like you're there. And like the elevator with the key, and she's like, it's like, God, get the key, like, and like hit the axe. And
how about how when Cal at the end, like towards the end, tries to like buy off the one guy to like get on the boat, and he's just like, your money means nothing, like like we're all gonna die, dude. Like
I have a child.
Yeah. Oh, and then he stole that child.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a good one.
And honestly, I think people that hate on this movie, it's just kind of in poor taste.
It is.
And it's not, I'm not even just saying that because like it's the Titanic story.
Right.
But like, I think people just think it's cool to hate this movie.
Yeah. When
it's really like, you're kind of just an idiot.
Well, I would say, and this is the thing, like, you know, I'm sure on IMDb a lot of people voted it, you know, 2 stars, 1 star, whatever, that have never even seen it. They're just like, oh, Titanic, forget that. Yeah. I know so many people, because this was out when I was in college, I know so many people men specifically, refused to watch this movie. Oh, I'll never watch Titanic. And a lot of them still haven't.
Because people just write it off as a chick flick when it's like, this is the best movie about love.
It really is.
That exists.
Yeah.
And if you don't think love is like an important thing, then I don't know what.
But it's got everything else too. Like
it's great
got
in
excitement.
many other ways. It's thrilling.
Yep.
It's powerful, and it gives you perspective.
Yeah.
It's just great.
Great choice.
Yep. Number 12. Evangelion.
Another Evangelion movie?
2.0.
So which one is this now? So we had
this is the sequel
prequel.
This is the sequel to number 40.
Oh dear. Okay.
So this continues that continuity.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And this one ratchets.
Wow, this is the third one now.
This is number 12 on my list.
Okay. And I want to hear it.
This movie blew me the heck away. This might I need to rewatch it. This might be a 10. I'm not sure. I have it like as a 9 currently.
Okay.
But it does everything the first one does better. And it deviates. Like, the first one follows the original story. This one's when it sharply deviates in very interesting and effective ways.
Okay.
Introduces new characters and is extremely emotionally impactful and really epic and glorious and sad and beautiful and amazing. I can't gush about this enough.
So this is a series to check out.
Yeah.
The Evangelion series.
It's
Neon Genesis.
Evangelion.
Evangelion.
Yeah.
Neon Genesis was the first one, and then 2.0, and then the other one.
Yeah, it gives a lot of perspective on individualism and depression and self-acceptance, and it also, like, on top of all that, just has really good action. The colors are really deep and vibrant and beautiful. The characters are all believable and good. And yeah, Evangelion's one of the all-time great works of fiction.
Okay, didn't know.
Okay. Number 11, we have the oldest film on this list.
Oh, okay. So let's see. We've already had one from the 30s. So is this from the 1910s?
No, 20s.
1920s. So another, I would say, silent movie would have to be. Is it another Chaplin? You love a Chaplin.
Nope, it's French. It's silent.
Oh, I
it's
won't know it then.
1928.
Okay.
The Passion of Joan of Arc.
What? This is a great movie.
This movie's transcendent.
What?
This movie's transcendent. If you haven't seen this movie,
I've never seen it.
If whoever's watching, if you love movies and you haven't seen this movie, watch this movie.
Okay.
Seriously, you need to see this.
Is this one of the big epics of the day? Like, is this a long movie?
No, it's not a long movie.
Okay.
It's 82 minutes.
Oh, that's very short.
And I think it's on HBO still. It at least usually is.
Dude, I'll tell you what, HBO Max, because they have the Warner Brothers library, has so many, like, good old movies for a streaming service.
This is also a Criterion movie.
Okay.
That you can get if it goes like that, but do not miss this.
Wow.
This has the best soundtrack of any movie that I've ever seen, in my opinion. This is the best soundtrack. Which is, I know, is very bold. A lot of movies on this, I like their soundtrack a lot, but this is number one.
I have a question, though, and you may not know the answer. Is the soundtrack that is in the movie now, is that the original soundtrack that was played?
I don't know.
Because a lot of the...
I don't think so.
A lot of the soundtracks at that time have been lost.
The reason why this movie is not known to everybody on Earth is because it was lost in a fire.
Oh, it was a big lost movie.
Yes, and it wasn't discovered until, like, forever, like the 90s maybe.
Okay.
But if it had come out then, this would be known as, for its time, the best movie ever.
No way.
I guarantee it. This movie is at least a 9, maybe a 10.
Well, if it's on Criterion, no doubt they've cleaned it up and they've probably sourced, whatever the soundtrack was or whatever.
Most of this movie is looking at Joan of Arc's face.
Really?
Maybe not quite a majority, but a large portion. Maybe like 40%, 50%.
Okay.
Something. A very large portion. But the acting, this performance, she's not even talking. You can understand what she's thinking and feeling through this whole journey. And just to set the stage, if you don't know, I didn't know anything about Joan of Arc prior to this movie.
I kind of know about her.
It's 1431 in France, and there's this peasant village girl, whatever. She's 19 years old. Her name's Joan of Arc. She gets a calling from God. She thinks that's her perception, and she feels called to defeat the British, the English, and siege and fight back for her people. So she disguises herself as a man.
Right.
Somehow gets a bunch of people to follow her. This really happened in history.
Yeah.
And took this fortress successfully. Led these troops in this impenetrable, undefeated, legendary siege, fortress, and she successfully takes it, and she becomes a war hero, and then she gets captured.
Wow.
She gets captured,
yeah,
and that's where the movie begins.
Oh, when she's captured.
After she's captured.
Okay.
This is the trial of them deciding what to do with her. That's the movie.
All right. I've seen literally like 3 silent movies, so I don't mind checking it out.
Yeah, this movie's powerful.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was an IMDb find, I assume, or did you find this from the Criterion?
This was an IMDb
list.
It is like high in the 200s or something.
All right. So people that know love it.
I guess, but like I'm surprised for people that have seen it don't rate it higher.
Huh.
Because totally granted, it's not everybody's bag. It's a silent movie, black and white.
Right.
It's very theme, emotional, heavy, deep, all those things.
Okay.
It's not a fun watch.
Yeah.
But I think
interesting.
I have so much respect for Joan of Arc now.
Yeah, she was cool.
I want to know more about Joan of Arc.
She was very cool.
Amazing individual.
Okay.
Everybody knows her name, but like her story is unbelievable.
Yeah, she was cool. Wow, okay. Well, this is what we get from Goofy movie to Joan of Arc.
Yep. Apocalypse
and now this is top 10, right?
Yes. Number 10.
Heading into the top 10.
Harakiri.
Oh. But that's not Kurosawa because you said we had his last movie. So
and
what is this?
This is the movie that has that actor. His name is
Oh, the one that you love, the Japanese actor.
yeah. I don't know.
Him?
His name is yeah.
Tatsuya
Nakadai.
Nakadai or something.
Yes.
Okay.
And this movie's good.
Another good one. Okay.
Okay. On Letterboxd, this is number 3.
Wow. Okay, that's from everybody's voting.
On IMDb, this used to be in the 30s.
Okay.
But has been they rechanged the formula, so bumped down.
Okay.
But it wasn't even known in there because they didn't have enough votes.
Right.
But people have seen this. Holy
what
crap!
The heck?
This is the movie that I went into a Barnes & Noble browsing the Criterions, and I convinced 2 random strangers that didn't know each other to buy this movie for $20.
Yeah, because Criterions aren't cheap.
Because I told them about this movie, and yeah, everybody needs to see this.
Wow.
But I will say...
What's it called again?
Harakiri.
Harakiri.
It's a Japanese movie. It's black and white. It's from 1962. It's about samurai.
Okay.
But more than any movie I've seen, it is absolutely mandatory to go into this movie blind.
Okay, well, I find that to be the case with most movies.
I
like to know nothing.
If you know the premise of this movie, you're not.
It's already over.
Well, it's not already over, but the impact will be lessened.
Wow.
Because part of the movie is discovering what the movie is.
Got it.
And yeah.
But everything about it's great.
I'm just gonna say that. Watch this movie.
Okay. Wow, way to start off the top 10.
Like, I could foresee this being higher on my list.
Okay.
The only thing about this movie, the only flaw in this is the fighting choreography is pretty freaking dated and bad.
Okay.
But, like,
don't love that.
If it wasn't for that, this would be an easy 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Easily.
And
I don't say that lightly.
I really only know, I think, a couple more movies on your list. I'm really intrigued by what's coming.
Okay, number 9. You know this one.
Okay.
Captain Fantastic.
Oh, I forgot how much you love that. Captain Fantastic is an A+ for me. It didn't make it in my top 50, but I'd only seen it, I think, once. But that's an A+ for me. This is such a good movie. You are about the only other person I know that's really seen it. Like, it really was under the radar. Came and went. Now, he did get nominated for it for Best Actor, Viggo Mortensen, but it came and went. It didn't really go to a lot of theaters. I don't know anybody else that even knows this movie.
Shout out to Nathan Stewart for recommending
this.
Nathan.
Me to watch okay. Yeah, this is a great choice.
Anybody that I've recommended this to absolutely loves this.
Mm-hmm.
This is more than any movie. The movie that's easiest to recommend to any random person. Like,
yeah,
have you seen That's Fantastic? Go watch it. You'll love it. Just do it.
Mine is Chef.
Okay,
anybody I tell about Chef, they all love it, and I've been talking about that for years. But but this encapsulates like all of the themes that you've been talking about whole video.
Absolutely, we're talking
family,
parenting.
Yeah, we're parenting.
We're talking philosophy.
Yep, philosophy.
New ways of thinking. Mm-hmm. The world would be a much better place if everybody was forced to watch this movie.
Right.
Because this, the kid challenges. They're celebrating Christmas, right? Mm-hmm. Celebrating some other guy. I forget his name. He's a famous person, but I just can't remember right now. And the other kid's like, can we just be a normal family and celebrate, normal Christmas?
Right.
And he's like, oh, so you think we should celebrate a fictional fat guy versus this guy that benefits humanity greatly? Well, if you think that, let's have a discourse. If you can persuade, we're all willing to listen to your position, and if you can persuade us for your position, we'd be happy to change our minds.
This is basically like you. In a nutshell.
Yes.
You love to have discourse.
Yes, this is how people ought to operate. Mm-hmm. If people can just calmly present their thoughts and have a reasonable discussion, fully respecting one another, and be open-minded and willing to adapt and change their thoughts, the whole world would be better.
Right.
That's like one of the very core issues to like negativity as a whole in Earth with humanity. Mm-hmm. And it's like, people need to see this movie. It's so good. And it's not just that. Like, there's so much to like here. It's emotionally powerful.
Yeah.
I think most people that watch this will cry.
Mm-hmm. I think
or at least tear up.
I think I did.
Very good acting.
Yeah.
Really good characters. Some memorable scenes of I know nothing.
Yeah.
He knows everything, but he knows nothing.
God, Viggo Mortensen might be one of the top people on your list because isn't he in all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies?
Yes.
So, got that plus Captain Fantastic. Yeah.
This movie's
What a
excellent, and I love it dearly. I treasure this movie. I'm so happy it exists.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 8. Lord of the Rings.
Okay. This is one of the ones, obviously, we all knew was coming.
Return of the King.
Okay.
I remember watching
My favorite
this
of the 3 as
in
well.
2003. I remember the day vividly. Watched a 3.5-hour Rocket Power marathon in Nickelodeon.
Classic.
Watched the new Dragon Ball Z movie number 8, Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan.
Okay.
Then we went to go see this in the theater.
Wow. What a day.
It was just a day of TV.
What a legendary day.
2003. And I watched this, just me and my brother in the theater. And I remember when it was over, we just looked at each other. And we're just like, that's the best movie we've ever seen. And we were just like,
yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah, this movie's a 10.
Yeah. And this is the one that finally won Best Picture, right? They were all 3 nominated, but I think this is the one that won it. Yeah.
11 Academy Awards tied with Titanic and Batman.
Correct.
I also forgot to mention with Two Towers, by the way, I also saw it on Christmas Day in Florida with family.
Oh.
That's also nostalgic.
Okay.
Bonus
Yeah,
for
so
that.
that's a bit of a bonus.
Yep.
For Two Towers.
Man. People complain about the length of this movie, which is understandable because it is extremely long. I actually think the extended edition of the second one is a negative. Overall, for most people, the first one, probably the same, but it's more questionable. In this one, it is mandatory to watch the extended.
Okay.
And the extended, in the first 2, it's 30 minutes extra. This is 50.
Wow.
So this is a 4-hour and 20-minute movie. But
and this is the only version I ever saw, which is why it was too long for me.
There are crucial scenes in the extended. Crucial.
Yeah.
If you don't watch the extended, there's unanswered questions.
Okay.
Like, seriously. Characters just... What happened to this character? You never know. Critical characters. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You need to watch the extended.
Okay.
Anyway,
everything that works about the first 2 is here.
Yeah.
The amazing cinematography,
everything's up to 11.
Everything's up to 11.
Sam in this movie going back for Frodo and Shelob's lair.
Mm-hmm. Legendary.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Sam,
what a hero.
Them in Mount Doom, and Frodo not wanting the ring is mine. And Sam just be like, ugh. Like, we've come all
come on.
this way.
Yeah.
Gollum's amazing in this one.
Yeah, my favorite.
I love Merry and Pippin splitting off. Pippin going to Gondor, Merry going to Rohan, and them each doing their individual things to contribute to the overall narrative in meaningful ways. Love that. Every character makes a significant impact in this. Aragorn becomes a fully realized character. His character arc is great throughout the series. That's really great. It's almost like a coming of age in a way for him, even though he's 87.
Well, but for them, that's young-ish.
Yeah. When they're like on Mount Doom and like even after, and they're like in the lava and they're just like, man, it's like, you remember what strawberries taste like, and like, man, it sounds like kind of cheesy right now, but it's really like,
I think everyone knows though.
Yeah.
You know
this movie's greatness incarnate.
Yeah.
I do have a couple gripes with this one.
Okay. More
than the first one.
Interesting.
First of all, the Army of the Dead is cheap.
Okay.
It's a cheap narrative thing of like, now I love when they're acquiring the Army of the Dead, their legions, but when they actually show up and they just like wipe out all the orcs instantly, like they're super fast, you can't interact with them at all, and they just slay them all. It's like, oh, you probably should have took them to Mordor.
Okay.
Just automatically won every, like, the Army of the Dead is just the most powerful thing in this world, basically, which is not actually accurate. Like, I know a lot about like Lord of the Rings lore, whatever, but yeah, I don't love that plot point of like, okay, now we kind of just obsolete everything involving combat because the Army of the Dead is just the most powerful.
Okay.
So I don't love that. I don't love Legolas, and probably my biggest gripe with the Lord of the Rings as a whole is I feel like the good guys too easily kill the bad guys in like endlessly. Like Aragorn and Gimli on like the thing in the Two Towers just like 50 orcs. Just like
Right.
they just keep falling off to the side. It's like, okay, I know
It's a little
I know
cheap.
you guys are amazing fighters.
Yeah.
And I know Legolas is like really good, but 500 elves died in Helm's Deep,
Right.
and Legolas hasn't received a scratch in all 3 movies. He never gets injured.
Yeah.
He doesn't get
That's
hit.
nonsense.
He doesn't get hit, injured, scratched, nothing in 3 movies.
Yeah.
And whereas like, okay, so Legolas is just God basically.
Mm-hmm.
He just takes down an elephant solo.
Right.
But other than that, it has the. You keep thinking it's the end, but it's not.
Yes, that is my least favorite part.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, hate
that doesn't
Just end the
bother
movie.
me. I do think the Sam stuff could be a little shorter with like his wife and stuff.
Okay.
But the stuff with the hobbits and everybody bowing to them, I love that, and Aragorn being his thing, and yeah, I'm just gonna say spoilers. If you haven't, you shouldn't
I
be
think we
listening
know.
to this if you haven't seen it. But yeah, Frodo leaving at the end, man, and giving the book like that hits.
You love
home.
that, yeah.
Love that the
Yeah.
friendship, and I also love when Gandalf comes in the room and Frodo wakes up because he doesn't know Gandalf's
That's
not dead.
right. That's right.
He doesn't. He does
Yeah.
never seen him.
Yeah.
And they just look at each other and they just start laughing.
Yeah.
And they're just like, everything's just pure bliss after all they fought through. And it's so satisfying. And yeah, one of the greats for sure.
Yeah. Everybody loves it.
I remember once when we were going to go to Cedar Point in college the next day, we had to get up at like 6 a.m. and it's like midnight. And the one guy is like, let's just watch Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. And then we're like, no,
my
let's do it.
God.
And he's like, just the first half. And we're like, all right. So we get to the first half, right when there's that big like wolf fiery thing, like about to siege the door, and it's like really intense, and then it ends, and then we're just like,
God, yeah, we can't stop now.
so we just watched it, and then got like 2 hours of sleep, went to Cedar Point.
You idiots.
So great.
All right.
Number 7,
Okay.
The Godfather.
Yep. I knew that was another one that I knew was coming.
Ugh.
One of the greats.
One of the greats.
Yeah.
I think
Best
this-
picture again.
And this might sound like kind of jumping on the bandwagon here, but this would have my vote for best live action movie, at least.
Okay.
So yeah,
I don't know if that's bandwagoning necessarily, but
I mean, a lot of people think that. And
yeah. But
I-
you genuinely love this movie.
I do,
I
and
know
I'm
that.
not just saying that because it's a very common opinion.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of controversial opinions, but this movie, everything makes sense plot wise. All the characters are great. The only flaw in this movie for me is I think you need to watch it with somebody who knows it, sort of. Like when we watched it, I kind of was like, this person's this person in relation to this person, because if you don't know that, it can be kind of confusing.
And that helped for me in the second one too, watching it with Joe.
Yeah, they don't really explain it as well as they could.
Right.
But other than that, this movie's perfect. It's a 10 out of 10.
Talk about the pacing of a 3-hour movie though.
Yes.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
The acting's amazing. The cinematography, the production design, the costumes, the lighting, the shadows, the tension, the atmosphere, the music, the dialogue, the writing. Everything's amazing. Like, it nails all of that.
The jokes all land.
Yeah. Also, the last shot is really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's a lot of famous scenes and quotes. Offer You Can't Refuse.
Yeah.
Al Pacino's amazing in this. Marlon Brando's amazing in this.
Pacino's best, I might say.
Yeah, I would say that too.
You know.
Him and this are two. Oh man. And this is another one that I was kind of concerned, is this going to live up to my memory of it? And
Yeah, because you hadn't seen it in a while when we watched
and
it.
it exceeds my memory of it.
Yeah.
It really, even the harshest of critics, I had somebody say that this movie's terrible recently. It was like the mother of one of my old friends. And she's like, oh, this doesn't make sense. I'm just like, I explained.
See, it's not a woman movie, though, like we said.
Yeah, but like,
she's
like, oh, it doesn't make any sense. All the characters, like, and I'm just like, everything makes sense.
Yeah.
You all know it's great.
We know.
Watch it if you haven't seen it. Number 6. Greatest action movie of all time?
Well, we've already had, Braveheart, The Raid Redemption, Gladiator.
You'll go, oh, when I tell you. What, you want to guess one?
Well, I mean, I Die Hard, I guess, but I don't think you like it that much.
Die Hard's really good, but
Yeah.
this movie I think is clearly better.
Okay. So what is it?
The Matrix.
Oh, The Matrix. Yeah, you do love a good Matrix.
Okay.
And another one, like, you had first Die Hard, up the game for action, and then T2, and then Matrix, like, shot it up there.
I said The Raid Redemption has the best action of any movie. I still believe that.
Yeah.
But The Matrix
But the
is
best
like...
action movie on the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Matrix is like...
Yeah, because like you said, The Raid Redemption doesn't have really a story. It's,
Yeah, the story's
weak.
whatever.
Yeah.
But The Matrix, again, if you remove... It has some of the best action. It's like pretty easily top 5 best movies that of the action in it is really, really great. And even if you remove that, the story's really great.
The story actually is really good here.
This movie makes you think.
Yeah.
Okay? About alternate reality and all the implications of that, of like being in a simulation.
Right.
Or what's real, like all these things about reality. It's deeply philosophical
and this was right at the era, you were still a little young, for this, but
5.
This was still at the era where it's like Y2K was about to happen, like nobody knew, like, oh, are the computers gonna, whatever, and it's like, so it was very, it came out just at the right time to have those conversations.
This movie's also really well cast.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, flawless. Thank God Will Smith wasn't him.
I know that would have been horrible.
Yeah, he probably would have slapped Mr. Smith pretty well. But yeah, Hugo Weaving as Mr. Smith, really good. Lawrence Fishburne, really good. He's also in Apocalypse Now. He's 17 years old, by the way.
Wait, Lawrence Fishburne's in that?
He's 17 years old. He's a kid. You wouldn't even know, really. He's like, is that Lawrence Fishburne?
No kidding.
Also, real quick about Lord of the Rings, also flawlessly cast with a bunch of like...
Yeah, I mean, with a huge cast, too.
Yeah, like Viggo Mortensen, perfect for him.
Yep.
Sam is perfect, Frodo's perfect, Gandalf's perfect, Saruman's perfect, Galadriel's perfect, like Pippin, Merry, everybody's perfect. Anyway. But yeah, The Matrix, super good action.
Yeah.
Super interesting premise, engaging the whole time, doesn't really waste much time, really. Yeah, just extremely creative and unique, deep. So it kind of strikes that balance of high art and low art. It's really entertaining and interesting and engaging, but also it's not that emotional, granted.
No.
So, but it is deep and philosophical and thought-provoking.
It tricks the mainstream audience that went, because they all saw like, oh, that was the cool, like the bullet thing in the ad, and they were like, oh, let's go see this cool action movie, and then it's sort of like, lulls them, because that stuff is cool, but then also you've got this whole other really interesting and thought-provoking plot.
Yeah, the other movies range from whatever, like, okay to like,
I really
bad.
didn't like the second or third.
But,
the fourth one was all right.
But yeah, this movie, you can take it, the other ones or not. It's just good standalone. And this movie's aged really well. I think we haven't reached that elevation yet.
Right.
I think since 1999, it's been 23 years, nothing has really elevated the game like past The Matrix. This movie's just so awesome. You think about when they're going to rescue Morpheus in the metal detector when he just has all the guns. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
And it's just like, just like on the walls, like kick the thing, like kick up the gun, like it's just so stylistic.
Yeah.
Kind of like Equilibrium, but good. And like, and it's just so awesome. And then they get in the chopper and the minigun and just all these shells just like popping out and they just and they just have like infinite guns and go to the training simulation and they just download the thing and they're like the pods when it's like, yeah, that's your real body. Oh man.
Yeah, that was wild.
This movie's so sick. And this actually had a pretty profound effect on me at the time too, because I think I've seen The Matrix more than any other film.
Really?
At the
Even
time,
Star Wars and stuff?
I think so, because at the time
I think I've only seen it once or twice.
I rewatched this, not like The Emperor's New Groove where it's like I watched it every day for a week or anything like that, but this and Star Wars Revenge of the Sith at the time, I
It was in
watched
constant rotation.
Oh, yeah, I watched it a lot. I really, really loved The Matrix as a kid. And that was kind of the first movie that I would repeatedly go back to. And that is, I credit that to be the progenitor of my love for cyberpunk things.
Okay, that totally makes sense.
Digital cyberspace.
Yeah.
I really wanted a laptop at the time. I wanted to be like a hacker.
Yeah.
I was like, Office Mask, get this floppy disk.
Oh, yep, gotta do it.
I just thought it was so cool technologically, even outside of the... And again, it kind of combines that technological, height combined with the mysticism sort of the one and not obsoleting hand-to-hand combat and things.
Right.
Kind of like Dune does it sort of too.
Okay.
Yeah. I really like that it's not just like, okay, we're way in the future, so hand-to-hand doesn't matter anymore, because hand-to-hand is just more awesome.
Right.
Rather than just like, boom, you're dead. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Number 5, American History X. So this movie has impacted me. I don't know if I've already said this, but I think this is impacted my thoughts more than any movie.
Okay.
Traditionally, especially when I saw this, I was really angry and pretty hateful. Not hateful towards demographic people or anything like that, but just hateful in general at the world, just pissed off. And this movie, it's about neo-Nazis. It's a rough, brace yourself for this movie.
Yeah, it's a tough watch.
Rough. I've only seen this once, actually.
Okay, yeah, same.
But it changed the way I think, because...
Ed Norton again.
Yeah, this is his best performance, even above Fight Club, I think.
Yeah.
When you watch this, it doesn't feel like he's acting at all. If you watch a YouTube scene, it's just solid gold.
Right.
Solid gold. The black and white aesthetic choice, I think not many movies do that. And I said earlier that if something's black and white, I usually prefer it to be in color. But when it's a particular choice in a modern film, I really appreciate it, because it often works and enhances it, and this is a good example of that. But yeah, when he's just saying who does it benefit to be angry?
Did that speak to you?
It did speak to me, because I'm just I have all this anger and hate. I was a little edgy or whatever, but who is that really benefiting?
Nobody.
It's hurting me.
Not you, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't,
hurting you benefits no one.
It's just a negative.
Yeah.
Why be so angry? And I think people could really... I think the movie is not about racism, even though it's in that context. It's about hate, specifically, and tackling that and letting go of hate, because it doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't do any good. And I think people could learn... It's more important for people to learn that today than many other times in recent history, because people are so pissed off today about politics, about all sorts of injustice, justifiably. But I think it's important to not be hateful. And
but you say justifiably, but it depends on what side you're on.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
you don't. If you can't change it, don't let the anger consume you. Of just I'm really angry, because it doesn't do anything. All it does is just worsen you, which in turn worsens the people that you interact with. It makes people you interact with, it's a selfish decision.
Yeah. And that's what you got from that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that impacted me significantly. And I also just think it also just isn't really heavy-handed, which normally isn't anything that bothers. It's something that bothers a lot of other people, but heavy-handed doesn't really bug me that much. It's if you want to give me the message, give me the message.
Yeah.
But it's very fair to the hateful side.
Oh, actually. Yeah. It really
very
is.
Hateful. It's very fair. And it's well, why, in the movie, he's talking to his father, who he's saying, oh, we're reading about this book. Oh, what? And then they get in this conversation that, my old English teacher left, and now this black teacher is teaching us. And the guy's like, well, is it fair that your better educated white teacher isn't your teacher anymore, and that they give it to this guy who's now going to teach you not as well? And it's that's a good point. It's a fair point. But the way that perpetuates the cycle of like it feeds into this mentality that they're lesser and like all these things.
Well,
and,
right. That's what
and
they're
then you end up hating
being.
them.
That's what
But
they're
like
being taught.
so it makes a lot of sense. It makes you
Yeah.
empathize with people that are racist or whatever. That like people that are racist aren't necessarily inherently bad people. They are just have been perpetuated to believe.
Well, they've
like,
been raised to.
Yeah, they have for like
these beliefs. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah.
All right.
So, really great movie. I think
Wow.
it's a 10 out of 10. Also, I have nothing negative to say about
Whew,
it.
okay, I avoided that one a long time because of the curb stomp.
Yeah. Number 4. This is a movie that if you said, Justin, you're on a desert island, you can watch one movie, I'd pick this movie.
Okay.
Okay? This is the one that I could watch forever.
Okay.
Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, okay.
1995.
I was going to say, this is not Scarlett Johansson.
Not
Ghost in the
Scarlett
Shell.
Johansson nonsense.
This is the anime, which I did watch, actually, before the ScarJo one came out.
Yes.
So I've actually seen this.
Yeah, the first time I saw this movie, I wasn't impressed at all.
Okay.
But every time I rewatch it, every time you
More
watch
and
this
more.
movie, you're going to notice new things because it's very fast. Like, this is only like an 80-minute movie. It's
Yeah, very
very
quick.
deep, and it does not hold your hand. It expects you to be intelligent and to be paying attention and to, like, really care, which normally I'm not always a fan of, but it works here for me. And I could watch this movie forever. I could watch this movie every day.
Wow. Okay.
Which I don't like rewatching movies that much.
Yeah.
Typically. But yeah, this movie's awesome. Visually, it's amazing. The score, the opening scene. Oh my gosh. There's this. The main character is a cyborg, and again, it goes back to those themes that I talked about in Blade Runner. About like what it means to be human.
Right.
Like if you have a consciousness, you know, if it is an AI less of a human, really is like what in a secular mindset where you don't have a soul, for example, or like an afterlife or anything else. It's like what makes something that's organically alive versus synthetically alive like greater or lesser, like objectively. It raises all sorts of philosophical questions, and I know The Matrix kind of sparked that cyberpunk love for me, but this is like the one that I love the most of any medium. This is like cyberpunk incarnate.
Wow. Yeah.
This is the thing. And originally this was lower on my list, but then I was like, you know, if I'm really being honest, I love this movie a lot.
Wow.
And yeah, it's so cool. It's one of those things that, you know, if I were to get a bunch of merch, like shirts and posters, I'd want Ghost in the Shell stuff.
Well, and it's like you said, stylistically, it's very cool.
It's very cool. Yeah, check it out.
There's only 2 left. Was that number 3?
That was number 4.
That was number 4. Okay.
All right, I need a drink.
There's only. I feel like there's only one that I still am like waiting for. I know it's got to be in here.
All right.
Okay.
Number 3, The Graduate.
Oh yeah, you do love this movie. This is a recent watch.
So the story behind this movie is I watched this senior year of college in a music and cinema class, which I was dead tired.
Right.
And I had to watch this and write or fill out like this worksheet or whatever. So I was just gonna skip around like I do for every movie and just figure out the thing. And I was dead tired at like 3 a.m. And I'm just like, okay. But I just got sucked into this.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop watching it.
I have not seen it.
I was engaged so hardcore in this, I had to like watch the movie.
Wow.
And I didn't even care about myself. I didn't care if I got a 0 on the assignment. I didn't care about sleeping. I didn't care about anything. I just cared about this movie. It is just sucks me in so hardcore. And it also related me at that time period because in the movie, the main character, Dustin Hoffman, who's my second favorite actor now.
Really?
Second favorite.
Oh, wow.
Behind Robert De Niro, Dustin Hoffman.
Seen many good Hoffman movies.
Yeah, he keeps rising in my ranks.
Yeah, okay.
He just graduated from college and he's trying to find his way. He's like a really good student. He was a really good athlete. He has all these things, but he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. Not that I was a great student or a good athlete or whatever, but it's kind of relatable. You know, at the same time
to anybody in that era, yeah.
But yeah, this movie's pure Justin Bate. And normally I know I've mentioned cinematography a lot in this, but like those are all just like kind of frosting on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, though, favorite cinematography of any movie.
Wow.
The way this is shot is just like, this is so genius! So genius! And the soundtrack, this is probably one of my favorites for sure. It's like Simon and Garfunkel.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Well, I didn't
classic.
know any of their stuff prior to this
Is
movie.
that right? See, I grew up on that.
And the Sound of Silence song is very deeply special to me.
Oh,
Because
that's on
of
there
this movie,
too?
it's the main song.
Oh, I thought Mrs. Robinson was the main song.
Well, yeah, that's in it. It's made for this movie.
Right.
So Mrs. Robinson is in it. I wrote a little thing for this too.
Sound of Silence.
The Graduate is a work of art that is great in a technical sense. It has a perfect score, terrific acting, and unbelievable cinematography. It is holistically badass, relatable, inspiring, legitimately sexy, and incredibly bold. But for all that, I find it emotionally resonates on a different level than any other work of art that I've ever encountered.
Wow, very good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. This movie is just everything that I wanted in a movie.
Did you rewatch this for the list? Or you only saw it that senior year and it stuck with you that long?
I saw it then. I actually didn't watch like the whole thing then, but I saw like most of it. Mm-hmm. And I watched the whole thing through like 6 months ago.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And
that's kind of for this list. You knew 6 months ago you were
like,
doing this.
Again, I had this like number 7 for a while, but I was like, if I'm being honest, this is everything I wanted in a movie. Everything. Yeah. Everything about this is Justin Bate. Amazing music, amazing cinematography, amazing acting, characters are great, everything's believable.
Yeah.
Really bold, themes that are relatable to me and important themes. The Mrs. Robinson is just
classic.
Hot and amazing. Yeah. And the romance in it is,
this really is your top romance when it comes down to it.
Yeah, actually you're right.
Right?
Like it's kind of tough because Titanic is more about like deep love romance, and this is more just about romance. Like it's kind of a sub theme, sort of. Like it's not all in on that. It's not
the main point, of the movie.
I just love Dustin Hoffman's character in this. I love all the characters in this and how they're so flawed. And the last several seconds in like the last shot, if you know it, you know it.
I know it from The Simpsons, actually.
If you know it, you know
Even though I've never seen the movie.
Great.
I know the parody version.
And the stuff that he goes through to chase what he wants.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kevin Spacey. And he just goes all in. He determines that this is what I care about. This is what I want. He goes all in, doesn't look back. And it's just so awesome. And yeah.
Mike Nichols, yeah?
Yes.
So I had an idea to probably next year or something. Every year I want to take either an actor and like watch all their movies and like review them, talk about them on the channel, or a director. And I realized I don't think I've ever seen a Mike Nichols movie. He's dead now, so he's not going to make any more movies. But like he's got some like real classic movies.
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Yeah. Never seen it.
I never seen it either.
So, and my friend Melissa that is on the channel sometimes with me, she loves like older movies. So I thought it'd be fun to like kind of go. But Mike Nichols actually was the first person I thought I kind of want to do this with his movies because I know he's got so many classics.
And just to be clear, I don't think The Ghost in the Shell or The Graduate are a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, well that's fine.
I'm just saying like this movie is everything Justin Jobe wants in a movie.
Yeah.
It's Justin Jobe. Like, you make a movie specifically tailored to appeal to me, this would be the movie.
Wow. I love that.
All right, number 2.
So that was number 3. Okay.
Number 2, this is what I believe
and I'm waiting for
to be the greatest film ever made that I have seen.
Okay.
Better than The Godfather. Okay?
Okay.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. You love it. God, you and Joe are so similar. That is like one of Joe's all-time favorite movies. Might have been in his top 5 now that I'm thinking about it.
I loved this movie ever since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Even when I didn't understand a lot of the themes.
Yeah. But talk about for a G-rated movie. We always joke about this, me and Joe. Like the heaviest of heavy themes, genocide, and like all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
So, okay. We talk about plot-driven movies.
Yeah.
We talk about theme-driven movies. Mm-hmm. We talk about character-driven movies. This is all of those things, okay? This is why I think this is the best film. I'm going to sell it to you.
Okay.
I'm going to sell it.
I mean, you don't have to. I know, but tell me.
This is like a 7.
I want to hear
this
you
is like
why.
a 6.9, by the way, on IMDb.
So stupid.
I'm going to tell you why this is the best movie ever.
Okay.
Okay.
But not your personal favorite.
Not my personal favorite.
Number
It's my
2.
second favorite.
Okay.
This movie's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay? I cry at 3 different parts in this movie.
You never cry.
3 different I don't cry very
We've
often.
learned.
3 different times I cried in this hour and a half movie. Okay? This is extremely emotionally impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely. If you do not feel for Quasimodo,
Yeah, you're dead inside.
you need to reevaluate your
Yeah.
heart, okay? The epicness, the end is amazingly perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just spoil it real quick. I'm just gonna spoil the movie. So
Yeah,
if you
it's a 25-year-old movie.
Yeah, okay. So he doesn't get the girl in the end.
Right.
That's amazing.
Rare for Disney.
Rare
for Disney, for sure.
Ugly.
First time ever.
Ugly guy.
Yeah.
The Beast
You
does not.
think.
Yes.
Right, you think the point is, oh, he's going to get her.
Yeah, the Beast does not get the beauty.
Right.
But he fully accepts himself, and the world accepts him, and he's in the world finally.
Mm-hmm.
And his like the character arcs of Quasimodo, of Phoebus, of Esmeralda, of Frollo. Frollo is the best Disney villain by miles. I love Scar, I love Jafar, I love Hades, I love Maleficent. Frollo is better than all of them, no question. He's the most evil. He's this he's the most like understandable. His Hellfire is the best villain song of all time.
Yeah, Hellfire's solid. One of the greats,
coupled
for
with
sure.
Heaven's Light, when Quasimodo is talking about how desperately he wants to be a part of, like, it's so beautiful. I cry at that part. I cry at the end. Just the Bells of Notre Dame song. Just thinking about it, I'm getting like chills and getting like teared up. It's so powerful. Esmeralda and the gypsies and the genocide and the political implications. And she just wants God to help her people. That song by Demi Moore is amazing. The part in the marketplace when they're throwing the stuff at Quasimodo, I cry at that part. I feel so bad for him. Everybody in this movie behaves realistically. Everything in the plot is realistic. It's unpredictable. Like, the opening scene is amazing. Provides so much context very quickly of like of what Notre Dame means in this place. The bells of Notre Dame, the eyes of Notre Dame. It's the church. The church matters in this world. Frollo's pursuit of Quasimodo's mother. That scene is very intense and visceral, and I'm on the edge of my seat. I watched just that random scene the other day, and I was just like, I've already seen this, but and he's like, a monster. And then he's like gonna drop him down the well. And then the guy's like, stop! And it's really epic. And the Court of Miracles as the haven for the gypsies, and Frollo's like plotting all this stuff, he knows Quasimodo's keeping things from him, and he like finds the Court of Miracles because of it. And then he like the whole final confrontation with Frollo. And the gargoyles aren't even real. They're part of his imagination because he's so alone.
It's intense.
Oh my gosh, this movie's so freaking good. How can people not love this movie? I wish people would like share my enthusiasm for this movie. But it's okay. I know of some people that really love this, at least. But
Joe loves it for sure.
This movie, the only flaw in this movie...
No, don't... Okay. It's your favorite movie, second favorite movie of all time. It shouldn't have any flaws. Let's hear it.
I do think like the one song is like not the greatest.
All right. Well, yeah. Usually there's one. There's one bad
with like the gargoyles singing about like getting the girl or whatever.
Yeah, that's lame.
But
usually there's one bad.
Everything else in this movie is flawless, and it's not just like lacking flaws. It's also very strongly positive.
Yeah.
Like, what more do you want? This has like oh my gosh, this movie is so good. It's hard for me to believe. I watched this in college and I was like, is this the same movie that I used to really like? But like, this is like unbelievable. Like, I can't even understand how good this is, like compared to like other things I've seen. It's just baffling to me. But it's not number one.
Okay. I've been waiting.
You know what it is, right?
I think so. When we entered the top 10, I was like, okay, well, we haven't heard the third Lord of the Rings yet. We haven't had Godfather 1 yet. And we have not heard, I don't want to say it because it's your movie, but there's one movie. It's in the same vein of a movie we just maybe talked about.
The Lion King.
Yes, I was going to say, like,
it's The Lion
King. Is it? You're like,
okay.
I knew once that was not in your, like, we hadn't heard it from 109 to 10. I was like, if The Lion King is not on this list, I've never met you.
Yes.
Like, okay.
Okay.
Perfect. I was waiting for it.
I think Lion King is the second best movie.
I forgot how much you love Hunchback, but I knew Lion King had to be high.
Yes.
Okay.
I think Lion King is...
I saw it with you.
I would say Lion King, in terms of like how good it is like basically equal to Hunchback, but I think it's slightly less emotionally impactful. But just like a ton.
I would agree probably with that. Although it's got some.
I think it's
got some emotional heft.
I think they're basically
sure.
tied.
Okay.
But the reason why Lion King gains the edge is it's more nostalgic for me. I grew up with this movie. This is classically...
Because this was already out when you were born.
There are pictures of me 3-4 years old with like Lion King action figures, which my mom told my brother to share the figures so he'd give me Scar and the hyenas. So I was conditioned to like villains from the beginning.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow.
He kept Simba and Mufasa.
That set the pace.
So... Oh, man. Again, I cry 3 different parts in this movie. I cry... I'm going to spoil this movie, of course.
I think that's fine. At this
I
point.
need to warn people.
I appreciate that you do, but okay. I think it's all right.
Mufasa's death. When he's talking to him in the stars in the reflection, he's like, "Don't leave me, please. Don't leave me, Father." And
that's rough.
He's like, "Remember who you are." It's like sad and epic.
Yeah.
And when he's rising on Pride Rock at the end, the music's playing and the rain is falling and everything's being washed away, all the decay. It is like so glorious,
so good,
and epic.
Yeah.
And okay, you want to talk about good soundtracks?
Well, look, I mean, Elton John and Tim Rice, Disney legend, Elton John. I mean, come on.
I think
Alan Menken, like all the Disney classics plus Elton John. Like, oh my God.
I think Circle of Life is the best Disney song.
I would put it definitely in the top 3, probably, or 5.
That opening scene. And then when it's fun, it shows you all the animal kingdom. It's not just music; it's like developing the context. And then when it stamps that, the Lion King,
so good,
just shoots up those letters. And Scar, you gotta love Jeremy Irons.
Irons, so
Scar
great.
is so good.
The comedy is good.
Yeah,
Timon and Pumbaa.
So, okay,
like,
can you conceive more ideal voices for literally every character in this movie?
And that's why when they did it again in 2019, it was like not good.
I didn't even watch it. I refuse to watch it.
Don't.
Disgraceful.
Because first of all, it's the same movie, but they just did different things, and then Beyonce put a really bad song in it. So it was like, what is the point of this?
It's offensive.
It looked good, but like, the voices are like so good. God, James Earl Jones is in a lot of your movies too. Most of his voice work, I guess,
is so legendary. Holy crap!
Yeah,
Zazu's voice is perfect. Yep. You talk about the hyenas, Shenzi as Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah,
the Bonsai
Disney legend right there.
Timon and Pumbaa.
Can
they be more optimal?
Yeah, they were so good. Ernie Sabella and I forget who the other guy was.
Even Simba.
But yeah, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. What a classic. At the time,
I didn't really understand it when I was younger. The guilt. I didn't understand the plot point when I was a kid that Simba thought he was responsible for Mufasa's death.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah,
huge plot
point. The themes in this movie are so relevant and powerful and important and well executed. And again, I think this really mirrors Hunchback in a lot of ways. Again, I cry 3 different parts. I think the ending is super epic and glorious. I think the opening scene provides a lot of context in a short amount of time. These movies are each an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Hour and a half. They cover a lot of ground because they don't waste a second. This is Toy Story 2 caliber right here, pacing. And the characters and the voices are all perfect, like I've said. People go, oh, it's just Hamlet. Yeah, well, Hamlet's like one of the best plots ever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Hamlet gets done like every year by some studio.
Hamlet has a really good plot. Sure,
Right.
it's borrowing it, but
Yeah.
like
Hamlet didn't have the songs though. That's
yeah,
Shakespeare didn't write the songs.
Can't Wait to Be King
Yeah,
is really good. Be
such a
Prepared.
good one. Be Prepared.
Probably
is
the
great.
best villain song other than Hellfire. One of
There's
them.
some- there's
One of
some
them.
good
There's a couple
villain
of ones.
songs.
Poor
Yeah.
Unfortunate Soul's really good too. From
Yeah.
Ursula. But it's
That's
one of
true.
the best.
I always liked what's
the
his
Love
face from
Tonight-
Tangled.
Oh, Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, Hakuna Matata,
Hakuna
such a
Mat-
classic.
legendary.
Circle of Life. Can you feel the love tonight?
Like, where
yeah.
are the weaknesses?
There's none.
Rafiki. We haven't even talked about Rafiki yet.
Fiki.
He's amazing. His voice is perfect. It's also my girlfriend Amalia. It's her favorite movie.
Okay. Oh,
Both of our favorite
Match Made in
movies.
Heaven.
Yeah.
Love that.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, don't watch the 2019.
The full circle of like it beginning with this and ending with this.
It really became the circle
This
of
cir-
life.
It's like putting your
Yeah.
past behind you. Like everybody, this applies to everybody. It's important for everybody. Like Hunchback, yes, but like this applies to everybody.
Mhm.
Like everybody has things in their past that they need to move on from, that they need to become who they are meant to be, and
Mhm.
like rising and growing and oh,
What a
Lion
movie.
King. Very
What a
nostalgic. We watched on VHS to death. The box like barely even closed. Yeah, 10 out of 10
All right.
movie. One of the
Wow.
greats.
Yeah, I can see that. What a list.
There we go.
That's it. The 100.
I've been looking forward to this every day for months, analyzing my list, trying to find new things to add to the list, anything that has
Yeah,
potential.
you've really looked over that list.
I would literally look
lot.
at this list several times every single day and try and analyze the precise optimization of the ordering and be sure and everything. So I've taken this very seriously.
You really have. And I love that.
The highlight of one of the highlights of the year
This
for
is,
me.
yeah, this is a culmination of a long time coming.
Yes. So thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
Letting me
And,
be
and now
on
I
this.
have to do my 100. Now
Yes,
I have to.
I want the
The whole group.
throw
We'll
off
have
the-
to do the whole group again.
throw off the restrictions.
Yeah.
Just your honest list,
Yeah.
sequels and all.
Yeah, I gotta put all 3 Toy Stories on there. I know. We only had. Let me think. No, I only did 50, of course, but I think we only had a couple that matched. Titanic.
I didn't have Shawshank or Back to the Future.
You actually didn't have Shawshank. I'm surprised about that.
It's in like my top.
Pulp Fiction just narrowly missed mine. Is Titanic the only movie we matched on? That might be true. Star is Born is too new.
You don't have Monsters Inc., right?
No, I do not have Monsters Inc.
Toy
Yeah.
Story 2 would.
Toy Story 2 would have been, if we're being, serious about it. All right. But you certainly matched a lot with Joe. I know that. You matched a lot with him.
Yeah.
I mean, Rocky probably would have been on there, but I've only seen it once or twice, so I didn't put that on. All right. Well, look. This was very good, very well-rounded list. You put
Thanks
a
for
lot.
including
You're
me.
welcome, buddy. You put a lot of research into this.
Yes.
Many, many months of hard work. I love you, pal.
Me too. Me
This
too.
was my longest video that I've ever done.
Oh, man.
We did the best of the decade TV. I think was about 3 hours, and part 1 of us was about 3 hours. But
There we
317 had to do it. All right, everybody. If you made it this far, thank you for watching,
Yes. Thank you very much.
and thank you, Justin. This was fun.
Yes. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We always love that, and we'll see everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's good.